who's the artist for that.
Yes, Albert Levy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So look at the. We even have cute stuff for women, little crop tops. It's not just boring T-shirts and stuff like that. Go get your merch, y'all. Go on and get your merch.
Chris, I think you should buy Denise one.
I think her beanie. She likes those beanies. I just looked at the beanie online. The beanie. The girls are all wearing beanies now.
Yes. Well, speaking of beanies, okay, that was also a terrible transition, you guys. I gotta work on my transitions.
You're working on your live transition. That's okay. We
Yeah.
still love you, Ericka. It's okay.
So we've got a couple more guests joining us for this part of the hour. We've got Olga Maria, the Latina libertarian, who was the Libertarian Party chair when I was running for Congress. She was my chair. And then we've got Ben Weir, and hopefully I didn't screw it up, Ben. It's Weir, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And
I'm not related to the guy from the Grateful Dead or the golfer.
Well, I was hoping the Grateful Dead. I mean, that's from my past.
Yeah, I wish, but
Oh, wait, we can't hear you, Chris. Wait, hold on.
Sorry. I was going to say, Steve will know this one. I am not the founder, nor was one of my lineage of Widener University in Chester, Pennsylvania. But I was in the wrong branch of the family. I ended up in the broke branch of the family.
Well, if you're lucky like me, you get a last name like Bundy, and it doesn't matter if you're related or not. The best day of my life was getting married when I got to get rid of my last name. Love you, Mom and Dad. Love you guys.
It's Ted Bundy. It could be Al Bundy.
Any of them.
Any Bundy.
Well,
no Bundys. No famous Bundys are good, y'all. None of them.
No. Al Bundy is acceptable. Let's be honest here. Al Bundy is acceptable. So, ladies, gentlemen, welcome to Of the People.
Yes.
Thank you. Nice to be
All right,
here.
So from a libertarian perspective, Olga, ladies go first. We are chivalrous, and Ben, you're going to get to go second. First question is always the same, which is President Trump's addressing a joint session of Congress. Yeah. What do you want to hear him say? What do you want to hear him talk about? Or better yet, we're going to phrase it. What don't you want to hear him say?
Oh, I definitely don't want to hear him say that we're going to be, funding any more wars, that we're going to be sending money. Honestly, as one of the many libertarians who did vote for Trump, who joined, the MAGA Maha Libertarian Coalition, I voted primarily to, see that if he was going to keep the promise of freeing Ross Albright, which he did within, 30 hours of being inaugurated, which was pretty incredible. Yeah. And then we have Doge, and then we have so many other things. Like it's been a whirlwind. So in that sense, I'm excited, and I feel really hopeful when it comes to a lot of things, because it seems like he has a really solid team. And I think that libertarianism and the people that he's brought around him, I think our message has really, gotten into a lot of the people that are in his circle clearly. Yeah. Because I just think he is on fire, and the people around him are on fire when it comes to decreasing the scope of government. Yeah. So of course, libertarians were just screaming more. Yes. But hopefully there's going to be, I think the strong stance that he took with Zelensky, last Friday, is a signal, I'm hoping, to other countries that the majority of the American people truly back the idea that we are no longer the world's police, that we are focusing on the United States, that we really have to get our house in order. So that's what I would hope to hear. I'm really curious. I'd love to hear that, the Department of Education is being abolished, that the ATF is being abolished. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see.
Well, and the Supreme Court has done a good job with the ATF this year. But the more we can do, the better.
They can look, as long as we get universal carry, you can keep the ATF.
Well, no, we need it gone.
All government agencies, get rid of them. I always say that Most Americans are default libertarians. They just don't know it. You know, Chris, you were talking about how everybody just wants to be safe and be able to take care of themselves and whatever. And that's really the basis of the libertarian, philosophy is just government should be small. Leave me alone. Let me take care of myself. Okay. So how about you, Ben? What are you either hoping to hear or not, or hoping to not hear?
Okay. Well, I think that, when it comes to like deregulation and stuff like that, I think that's probably the top priority for me. This is why I've kind of like thrown some support, like just, I have no sway in it, but, for like Vivek, who's running for governor, wants to continue to deregulate, based off of, what his findings were with Doge and everything like that. But I would love to see more deregulation. I would love to see, I echo what Olga said, with ending the forever wars, bringing our troops home and keeping us safe and not creating more veterans. You know what I mean? So I'm a veteran myself. I was in the Army. I was an infantryman, and I lost a lot of good friends. But there's some good bills right now that will help bring some of those home, like the Defend the Guard bill. And, the only other thing maybe he could touch on is Linda McMahon was confirmed. And her first thing that she mentioned was that she's at her first hour, she said, we are in the final chapter of the Department of Education, which was awesome to hear. Closing things up, bringing it back to the states, which I think is very important. What I don't want to see is basically them taking that power and just putting it in another system of federal government.
I'd like to see
that's
it even
what they
beyond
do.
the states, down to the communities, the local communities. Let them make their own curriculum choices.
Take it down to the counties.
Yeah.
So,
and I can tell you, having lived in Vermont, when No Child Left Behind was implemented, and even before that, Howard Dean was governor, and each town dealt with their own educational costs. But then what did they call that, Ericka? Was it Act 250, which was the redistribution, where they created the gold towns, the giving towns, and the receiving towns. We actually went to the governor's office and said, okay, we understand that we're a gold town. We're going to be giving to the state, and you're going to give us back all the same amount of money. Sort of everyone's in a brown burlap bag in terms of education. Here's all you're going to get. But then we said, we want to put together a foundation and raise our own money in addition to what the state gives us. To be able to fund education in our community to the point that we think we could and we needed, and we were told no. That's right. That's where I draw the line. We were told that you can only spend the amount of money we give you locally.
But you have to be
careful. Because parents are thinking about their children. How do I get the best curriculum to my children? The Democrats are thinking, how do we get the most money to our teachers so they can indoctrinate the children?
Correct.
You guys are missing a good point. It's fine to get rid of the Department of Education, but if you give the power back to the local municipalities, you're going to have school districts in the big blue states that are teaching around CRT and critical social justice. You're going to have the red states where they're not, and you're going to have a disparate educational system. There has to be some oversight that also doesn't allow federal funding. If teachers go rogue, the teachers' unions are polluted with horrible training around a lot of different ideologies and pedagogies that are being replaced pretending to be curriculum. So if they go into the local municipalities, who's going to oversee that?
I got to say that it's actually, I think decentralizing is definitely better. I don't think more oversight or even any oversight like that really matters that much. I'm speaking I'm in New Hampshire. So they have educational freedom accounts, which basically allows parents, if they are within for certain tax bracket, to take the tax dollars that go to their child for education and choose what school their kid goes to, even if it's not directly
school choice. It's basically school choice.
Well, today they voted to expand that to a much wider tax bracket, and that still has to pass the Senate and go through the governor, but it's OTP, it's ought to pass. So we got a lot of momentum, at least in New Hampshire, to at least, free up that education system, and kind of like push more deregulation on schools and just let kids and let parents choose what education's best for their kids. You know,
here's what I want to know.
I have a question for Steve, because it's a kind of a follow-up question. You know, we talk about states' rights, right? And well, when the abortion things, and some of them were no abortion, and people said, well, move to a state where you can do abortion, or anything, whatever the issue is. If there's guns aren't legal in California, move to Texas. Could that not also solve the issue of education? I think what we're also talking about, school choice, could solve the issue, especially if they had that money that was given to them by the state to go to a school. You'd see schools spring up all over the place to counter the CRT. But couldn't you also just say, move to another state?
I don't think so, because certain states can only handle, certain schools can only handle so many young people in classrooms. And we're seeing with the illegal immigration that some of these classrooms are being overrun. There's not enough teachers. The teachers' unions are very, they're not helpful. Let's just put it that way. They're very corrupt. They're very politicized. And I understand, I'm all about deregulation, okay? But the schools have been infiltrated. You know, we all know about the tunnels that Hamas built into Israel. They also built tunnels in the US. They're called schools. And the pedagogy and the teaching that is going on in these schools, you cannot allow local municipalities to do their own curriculum. It doesn't work. I'm working in certain districts right now in this country to try to flip school boards, because you have local school board members who are corrupt and who are anti-American, pushing anti-Judeo-Christian values on kids. We've already lost one generation, and I'm not going to sit back and watch us lose another generation. So we could debate this for another 2 hours, but Chris, short answer is, I don't believe that would work.
Here's what I want to know is, Robert, what are you going to do when your girlfriend, Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, what are you going to do when she doesn't have a job anymore?
The hopping hobbit?
The hopping hobbit.
I'm going to throw a party. I'm going to throw a party. Look, we all know that the unions are there, they're not even about the teachers. They're about the unions and the Democratic politicians that fund them. It's sort of a revolving slush fund. Yeah. The children and the education, as we saw in COVID, when they advocated for shutting down classrooms, are sort of an incidental exposure here. And they certainly don't represent most of the teachers whom I believe really care about the children. Yeah. So if and when she retires, look, I hope one of the things I would love to hear, speaking of which, I would love to hear President Trump tonight talk about right to work.
Oh.
Right. I don't think he's going to, because I don't think it's quite. And look, let's be honest. What is it? 82 executive orders so far, flooding the zone in 6 weeks in office. I mean, and again, my only concern with something like that is what you can do by executive order can be taken back by executive order with the next president. That's why legislating is so hard. Yeah. But I would love to see him talk about right to work. That's my own personal thing. I just think that's sort of one of the ground zero points in all of this, in terms of unions and stopping the cycle of money. But Steve, you're 100% correct. It took us a generation or two or three to get into this problem. And it's no different than Hamas and Judea and Samaria, right? Until you stop that cycle of hatred being taught to the children, until you stop that cycle of dumbing down education to the children here, and they generationally grow up, you're never going to break the cycle. You can win the battle, but the war is generational on both of those.
If you've never read the book Slouching Towards Gomorrah by Robert Bork, he wrote it in 1999. It's one of the best political books I've ever read. And he wrote it in 99. And he basically said that this has all been the plan since the 60s. They said we have to take over the institutions.
That's right.
What's really fascinating then is to read it in 2025 and go, he wrote this thing 26 years ago, and he would be rolling over in his grave how far beyond what he said it was going to happen. But this has always been in the works by the left.
And I just want to add real quick though, really kind of what we're looking at in the bigger picture is the culture, and the culture has shifted. And so I actually have a lot of hope. I mean, I look at what's happening right now in Maine. I think I hear what you're saying. The gentleman up there, I don't see everyone's names, but I understand what you're saying.
Steve's the handsome bald guy in green.
There you go. I
don't know why
I'm
the
a
names
little
are.
bit more hopeful. I'm a little bit more white-pilled when it comes to localities, just because I see what's happening in places like Maine, where I think parents and kids have been pushed so far to such an extreme. And I think obviously the election was a response to that. And I think now a lot of people feel free and that they have the ability now to push back. So, what's happening in Maine with the parents that are getting together, they're pushing back. I mean, the exchange that Trump had with Governor Mills there, and that just opened the floodgates. But the floodgates were already opening there because parents started pushing back on the massive migration that was happening and the clash that's been happening against, the local students with migrants, the violence, the housing crisis that's happening where migrants were giving preference to homeless veterans that have been on waiting lists for this housing. So I just think there's something happening in the culture where I truly believe the shift is going to happen a lot more. I think the fact that we hear conversations and talking points about, no more wars, about, deregulation, about, just look at what happened with all the exposure with the USAID. I think the American people are just like, we are so ready right now to really start pushing back. And a lot more people who would never talk about how, influenced communism and socialism is. I mean, I hear people like 19, 20 years old, like my son, talking. I mean, they are just way more aware in a sense and really pushing back on the extreme radical leftism. I mean, they're kind of like going to where, they're looking more conservative and libertarian and wanting to understand economics. And so I think there's a big pushback culturally that's happening. I do agree with you that it will take kind of time, but I don't think it's going to take as long because I just think it's already, the zeitgeist has shifted.
Well, look at the shift that took place in the African-American community over immigration. I'll never forget, I don't remember what show it was on, but here's this, young Black mother. She shows up at the rec center with her kid who's like 12 and sorry, it's shut down. We have immigrants living there. And she was actually cussing on the show, the news show, but she's like, where's my kid going to go? I got to go to work. This is where he goes. Now he's going to be out on the streets. And you saw, which is probably the most dependent Democrat vote, shift significantly, because I think exactly what you were saying is there's a cultural shift and they're just looking at this stuff saying this doesn't work for us.
Well, and even people who would never have spoken out before. Actually, I'm kind of curious, Ben, what you think about this. Have you guys been keeping up at all with the union, the New York Correctional Union? So have you guys heard about this? So basically, the conditions in the prisons have gotten so bad in New York because they can't put violent offenders in solitary confinement. They can't punish people anymore. And so it's gotten so violent that the union is on an illegal strike they're having to work 24-hour shifts. I mean, it is insane. And they've got the guard. Speaking about defending the guard, if New York State didn't have a National Guard, that's who's running their prisons right now.
Wow.
So I know. It's crazy. So, can you imagine that as a person having been in the military, Ben, having to go be a prison guard?
I can, because that was almost the job that they put me in once I got out. I would never want to do that, though. But that is pretty wild. But if you think about it, what is the purpose of the National Guard? It's usually presumably to help for disasters here at home, right? Well, a vast majority of our guardsmen are being sent overseas instead of being used to help us get through disasters here at home quicker.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not able to help keep our borders here safe. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
If they're over there defending the interests of whatever entities out there, you know what I mean? Like fighting all of Israel's
whatever
wars,
foreign government. Yeah, exactly.
But that is pretty insane. And I got to say that the prison system in general is just absolutely corrupt. I ran for county sheriff as a constitutional sheriff here in New Hampshire back in 22. And that was an experience. But, what I learned about the prison system, even here in New Hampshire, is that, the vast majority of the time they are certainly, under, they struggle to get people in there to take those jobs. It's not a fun job, but, just the prison system in general, what they're doing, in some of these people that are going to jail, there's an issue here because there's a lot of people going there for mental problems, not necessarily crimes, and they're basically being treated as mental institutions these days.
Yeah.
And it's not the job of prison guards. Like, do you think a prison guard is going to be a good psychiatrist to help people figure out what they're dealing with mentally? Like Ronald Reagan's largely responsible back in the day for shutting down a lot of mental institutions.
And
but
Geraldo Rivera, if you guys remember that. Thank you, Geraldo.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but ultimately, I think that there's a lot of people in jail or prison for mental problems that we need to fix that problem too. Maybe separate it out. And I'm not advocating for more federal bureaucracy here. A lot of prisons are privately owned and funded anyways. You can actually get stocks in prisons. That's pretty
what?
You didn't know that? Like, the prison system's mostly privately owned and you can get stocks in it. And it's a great
and this is the problem, right? Because when you privatize something like that, the lobbyists go to the politicians and they say, we need to make this a 10-year mandatory deal, right? And so then, you're right, 10-year mandatory or whatever. We need to change the laws. And all they're doing is filling the coffers of the guys who stroked them a check at the last fundraiser. And that's a problem. But that's where we find ourselves.
Who was the guy? Hold on. Who was the guy Biden pardoned?
Yeah, the judge in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Who had a deal where they were jailing minors, and the judge was getting a kickback, and that judge was one of the ones that was pardoned. I mean, the other side of this issue is that there are many laws that exist that prosecute people for victimless crimes. So as a libertarian, like, if we could get rid of laws that are victimless crimes, and then we can focus on, having people, dealing with people who are like hardcore criminals, but there are just a lot of things that are criminalized, and this clogs up the system. It clogs up the jails. Again, part of what Ben was saying is like part of this lobbying is to have like BS things that are criminalized that shouldn't be criminalized, and then we have this monstrosity happening. Hopefully on the federal level, like maybe one of the things Trump can do could be like, for example, deschedule marijuana as like a class 1 narcotic. Like, I think that would help. Just things like that are not necessarily bring it down to the states or just, when it comes to certain things that that create interactions with police that are unnecessary and clog up the criminal justice system. And then, the hard crimes, like where they're against life and property, they just can't be dealt with. And I think that also, like, in the bigger picture will kind of help. I would hope, like, just limit like the ability of lobbyists to be like, hey, let's make this, like a minimum, 3 strikes and you're out or whatever.
The problem with that is, they did do that. And some of these woke progressive DAs allowed and verbalized that you could go into store. We wouldn't prosecute up to $500 worth of theft.
$1,000.
Everybody went into all the stores in the big blue cities and stole $500 a day.
Well, that's not a victimless crime. Like, that's a crime against property.
Yeah, but and also the police have something called the broken glass theory. Yeah. And that's if you start to ignore neighborhoods where they just break the glass, it's a test. Then they do more and they do more and they do more. If you commit a crime, you should be properly convicted for whatever that crime is. Doesn't mean everybody's got to go to jail, but there needs to be a deterrence. There is no deterrence in this country anymore.
Well, there's got to be a consequence.
Speaking of deterrence,
you're talking about a consequence.
Yeah.
That's to be consequences.
Okay, hold on. I've been trying to bring Bruce Abramson into this call for 10 minutes, and y'all will not stop talking. You guys got to take a break. Okay. We have another guest, you guys. We got Bruce Abramson here. Dr. Bruce Abramson. Dr. Bruce Abramson added to the stage. My man, the man, the legend,
I don't understand, Ericka. They kept giving you all these ins, talking about mental illness and encouraging.
Speaking of mental illness,
exactly. Let me bring Dr. Bruce in. Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of mental illness. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining us is Bruce Abramson, Dr. Bruce Abramson. I don't even want to start with how long his resume is, but I'm glad you joined us because I want to get back to Trump issues. Look, the first thing that Trump did when he got elected was start Doge, right? And explain to me and explain to everybody else and our listeners what zero basing is. I mean, from an economic standpoint, you have all these degrees, so it means you're one of the smart guys. Explain this can you just put it on an 8th grade level for guys like me, though?
Sure. Here's the beauty of what Doge is doing. And it would be great if Trump actually explained this in his speech tonight because people don't understand.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances, when you come into a new job, you're writing a budget for your organization for next year. You take over as management of a new company. You inherit whatever is there, and that becomes your baseline. And then you come in and you say, let me look at what's there. And yeah, I got to bump this up a bit. I can bump this down a bit. This division doesn't seem to be doing anything. I have a feeling that the payrolls are padded. Let me look into it and I'll look over who's there and see who I can cut. And it's normally the way that things go. Your baseline is whatever you inherit, whatever you start with, whatever you did last year. And then as you look ahead, you try to make minor adjustments. And that's actually not a bad way to go if your idea is, last year went pretty well. And we kind of like about the same performance this year, maybe a little bit better. And so we'll take what we've got and we've tweaked it.
Yeah.
There's another approach to management and to budgeting, and it really comes to budgeting literature. It's called zero base. And that says, no. The baseline is zero. Okay. We're going to go back to zero. We're going to take a completely blank sheet of paper. And now we're going to look at what's on the table one at a time and say, if I can justify it based on what's here today, great. If not, it's gone. If it has to be a completely different number than it was last year, that's what we're going to do. So here's an easy example of where Musk did this at Doge. There was a story about a week and a half ago where he sent a memo to everybody. If you were on the federal payroll, you got this memo that said, send me five bullet points of what you did during the week.
I love that.
Okay. And this is beautiful because this puts the incentives in the right place. So now all of a sudden, instead of saying, look, if you're on the federal payroll, we're going to keep paying you. We're going to assume you have your job. And then we'll go and we'll look at one department at a time. And if we find a couple of people here who don't belong and a couple of people there who haven't been showing up and someone who died 5 years ago, then we'll clear them all. Instead, what he did was he said, okay, if you're getting this message, assume you're fired. Okay. Assume you don't have a job unless you meet this minimum requirement. I want you to write back with something that basically says, hi, I exist, I read employer email, and in my personal opinion, I am conferring value on the organization. That's it. You don't have to make a compelling case. You don't have to actually be conferring value. Just tell me that you think you're earning your keep and you got your job. And if you can't meet that, then you're gone. Now, all of a sudden, we've taken it back to zero, okay? Momentarily, not even for a full pay period. Momentarily, the federal workforce is zero. And now we're letting everybody who claims to have been on the federal workforce an easy way to get back on.
All right. So let me ask you.
Everything.
I think we got to mute something. Thank you. So let me ask you, Steve, is it legal?
I'm not a lawyer.
You play one on TV. But you play one on TV, no?
I think we're going to find out in the coming months. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be, but we're going to find out. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Well,
Jonathan Turley just wrote a really excellent article about, I think it was the inspector general that got fired and then the judge stepped in. And Turley wrote an article about 3 days ago saying this is actually really great for both sides because both sides have been trying to figure out if they work at the discretion of the executive. And so he actually said this is going to be good because it's going to go to the Supreme Court and it's finally going to be decided.
And that's really where I was going with this because I think since Nixon, we have moved away from a strong executive, right? Little by little, Congress has sort of usurped that authority, even though Congress doesn't pass laws anymore, because then it goes back to the executive to pass executive orders. So I do think it ends up in the Supreme Court to try to better define the relation between the three supposedly co-equal branches of government. But Ben, let me ask you from a libertarian perspective, does the Libertarian Party want a strong executive or a weak executive? Right? Donald Trump's a strong one.
Okay. This is a loaded question. Let me tell you.
Because
of course it was.
Question,
of course it was a loaded question.
I cannot wait to hear this answer.
This is how you earn your keep, Ben.
Right.
So I tell this to people. I tell people that I'm a Machiavellian, and it's not because Machiavelli was, I guess people consider him like a violent person, whatever. But what he understood is power dynamics and how to navigate in the political world of his time. And he didn't use perfect means to achieve his ends. That's for sure. As a libertarian, I believe at absolute decentralization at the most extreme level. All right. It goes down to the individual for everything. However, I will say that if you had to have one person that had to centralize everything to decentralize everything, I don't think it's Donald Trump, but that wouldn't make me mad.
So wait a minute. You're giving me a non-answer. Now you sound like a politician.
Trump is pushing the needle in the right direction in certain areas. So where he's coming up with these executive orders with Doge is a fantastic idea. This is why I said I was giving props to Vivek earlier. But do I think that executive authority is the best way to do this? It's probably the only way to do it, because at a decentralized level, with all these different moving parts involved, it's not going to get done. However, you do run the risk of the next guy getting in and completely erasing everything that you've done.
And doing
this is
the
the
same
problem
thing.
with centralizing it with one person. Even if it's like the most perfect libertarian, like if we had Ron Paul as the president of the United States.
Wait, are you saying Ron Paul's the most perfect?
The next guy's just going to add it right back in. You know what I mean? So
just Rand Paul,
and hopefully what can happen, I mean, right now, Republicans have the Senate and the House. Hopefully what they can do is follow up with legislation to solidify a lot of these things that are good. So
and if
I don't know if that's the plan, because the danger is then, we've already seen the crazy reaction from the left. I mean, for goodness sake, poor JD Vance came to Vermont to ski, and he was met with a couple of hundred insane people who were basically like screaming at him and his kids while they were just trying to enjoy like a weekend ski. And I mean, but my point is, and with the complete demolition of USAID, which I will say, in my state, like in many blue states.
Sorry, Olga. I had to.
There's a lot of non-for-profits, and there's a lot of people who are really pissed off that their jobs, or like where they go to volunteer because they don't work and they receive income from taxpayers basically, and where they hang out and do their activism is, in a crisis mode. So there's a lot of pissed off people, and there's a lot of this kind of coordination. And I just, my concern is, what happens in a few years. I would love to see that there is this, quick action to consolidate these things that are about shrinking government, and I think our baseline is just getting to as close as the Constitution as possible. I mean, that sounds crazy, but this is what we need to happen. Yeah. So I don't know. And so yeah, on the one hand, it's like we can strip a lot of things away from the executive, centralizing it, but we have to get to a point that then power is then returned to the people. So how
Robert, at the end of the day, we are a republic, and we are exactly what Ben wants, right?
Exactly.
Republic. The citizens have the power. We're not a monarchy, right?
Yeah.
Trump.
And we're not a democracy.
Correct.
Right, we are a republic. In a republic, the power lies with the citizens. There is an elected person that is supposed to, and people. We have three branches of government that are supposed to enact, enforce, and uphold laws. We have lost that in this country. These politicians and the hijinks, and as I mentioned earlier, the tomfoolery with which they govern is not representative of whether it's me or Ben or anybody else on this screen, because we all, and by the way, we all seem to want some different things, but at the end of the day, we all want a strong United States that represents each of our interests, our kids' interest, our friends' interest, our neighbors' interest, but we want a strong country. That might mean something a little bit different for each of us, but we live in a republic, so we should be able to have that, which is why I said earlier, the number one constitutional amendment, the 28th Amendment, should be term limits. Okay, if we have it for the top office, we should have it for the Senate and the House. But when you talk to members of the House and Congress, they say, oh, no, it takes us too long to learn the system. Guess what?
No, you don't need to learn the system. That's the whole problem.
And
okay, so let me say my anti-term limit.
Okay, wait. Okay, you can say, wait, hold on. You can say your anti-term limit. First question, by a show of hands, who is in support of the Convention of States? Do you know what I'm talking about? Who doesn't know what I'm talking about?
I do. I know. I'm not in favor of it.
So much. I got to shove so much stuff in my brain with all this stuff happening. It's such a whirlwind.
Okay, so at least half of us are for the Convention of States. Okay, so go ahead, Chris.
You have the floor.
So I'll tie the Doge. And I was, as Steve was, prior to Steve talking, I was thinking this comes down to term limits. And I'm anti-term limits. And one of the things I love about what Doge and President Trump are doing is the problem with term limits is it doesn't allow the people to elect their representatives. And the real problem is that a lot of it doesn't. Okay, I love this guy. He's amazing. He's the best guy ever. Sorry, 12 years, you're out. I can't vote for him anymore. My right to be represented by the person that I want to be represented by is no longer there. However, the real problem is not the politicians. They do a lot of bad things. Most of the bad things are done by unelected bureaucrats. And if we had term limits, they would just sit there and go, all right, he's going to be gone in 4 years. No. And they pass these regulations that are essentially de facto laws because you have to live by them, whether it's OSHA or, any of the other groups, right?
The administrative state.
I mean, I could consider agreeing with you if I hadn't run for Congress and had all of the bribes sent to me, right? So you can say that it's that a lot of this stuff is done by unelected bureaucrats, but it's not. It's lawmakers putting laws into place because they got bought off by special interest groups who then take the money out of your pocket and mine to repay their donors.
It's not that simple.
Look at how many laws there are versus how many regulations there are. Far more regulations done by unelected bureaucrats.
Right. I hear you, but our elected officials are all bribed. Let's just be real. Every single one of them is bribed. Has been bribed in order to get their position.
That is an awful broad statement. Bruce, you have the floor.
I will defend that till the day I die.
There's a huge problem with any of these procedural arguments in that, it all depends, right? I mean, basically, picture the scenario. So you got a student who says something in class and a teacher says you can't say that. And the principal says you can't restrain that student. And the school board says to the principal, you can't control the teacher. And the governor says to the school board, you can't interfere with the principal. Now, which side stands for free speech? Well, the answer is whichever side agrees with me, of course.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, procedure may be all that we have, but I tend to believe, and this is sort of my problem with ideologies, right? Why I'm always push the pendulum back to whichever direction it hasn't overswung, is that I believe fundamentally that all ideologies and all procedures have a degenerate state, and given long enough, they will all degenerate. And I think that a lot of what we're looking at in this country is ideas and ideologies and systems that actually sound very attractive when you describe them, but they've been around unchecked for long enough to degenerate. And we're looking
at like the political philosophy of the second law of thermodynamics, right? Everything degenerates.
That's everything degenerates. That's it.
Write that down.
Well, you go back to a point in history and say, we have to extol individual rights because people aren't free to do their own thing. And you say, great, we'll do that. And eventually, you get to John Stuart Mill saying, oh, your right to swing your unfettered right to swing your fist stops the tip of my nose. But then we go beyond that, and you effectively get to an atomized anarchic society, because any suggestion that I can't do what I want right now is an imposition on my individual liberty. Right? So you say, well, okay, maybe we should start doing things to build a community, and all of a sudden you're back to North Korea.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
and this is the thing is
do you want to live in North Korea or Somalia? And the answer is neither.
No. I want to live in a place where the government does not have the ability to control me. See, this is what I think often gets lost.
Somalia.
None.
But Ericka,
I want to live in the
wait a minute.
United
Wait a
States
minute.
of America.
Ericka, the minute you live in a society or civilization, you have compromised your right. He's talking about John Stuart Mills. You're now going back to the social contract, right? You're going back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, which is you're already.
Don't call me a Rousseauian, please.
I wasn't calling you. I was just bringing him up. But I want to go back to this term limits thing because, it's interesting because there is some conversation that Donald Trump is going to be a dictator and he's not going to leave, the same crap they're throwing around. But it was, during the FDR years, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt ran for 4 terms and he won, right? George Washington sets the precedent. No president runs more than 2 terms based on precedent. FDR dies in his 4th term, and Congress, in their infinite wisdom, and here I don't support Convention of States because I don't want to open the teapot, but what happens is Congress says, oh, we can't let the executive have that much power, so we're going to term limit him for 2 terms, right? But at the same time, they don't term limit themselves. That's where I have the issue with it.
Yep.
Whether or not term limits, Chris, as you brought up, tend to erode your right to have your elected representative that you want. I think it's a point well taken. I don't think I want to open up the constitutional box. But if Congress saw fit to limit the term of the executive, then why is the term of the legislature, which is a co-equal branch of government, also not limited? Somebody answer that question for me, Steve. I'm always picking on you. It's the bald guys. We have to stick together.
I understand Chris's point, but I would say, there has to be term limits for the legislative aides as well. I want everybody, and I don't agree that you can't vote for your candidate because there'll be new candidates to choose from. That's what the framers did not have Strom Thurmond and Chuck Schumer and Ted Kennedy in mind when they drafted the
spirit of rotation
and at all.
They might have had Strom Thurmond in mind
for everybody,
and they really didn't have Maxine Waters in mind.
And Bernie
they definitely had those fools in mind when they wrote that crap. They were like, these freaking fools.
What do you think about this idea? Because the whole idea of, okay, we're going to have term limits. What about taking all these federal employees and rotating them to, okay, you can work 10 years at this agency.
I love that.
At the end of 10 years, you go to another, we'll give you preferential treatment on hiring, but you get them out of that niche that they've been writing regulations that are basically just laws and usurping Congress's power by writing regulations. Well, now they're not in that building anymore. Now they're over here, and they might do the same thing there.
But they still
you're rotating those employees out.
But they still have power. They still have influence. They still, again, all these elected officials. I'll say it again. They've all been bribed to get into the office.
Do you fire the bureaucrats? Do you say you can only work?
Absolutely. We shouldn't have a bureaucracy to begin with.
Probably have so many.
Well, you have to have somebody that runs the agencies. If you have an agency, you have to have some employees who push the paper.
Yeah, but you've missed the argument that they're putting forward of it, which is that we need dispassionate experts, right? And so, fine, I've spent 10 years writing environmental regulations, and all of a sudden you're telling me I'm in charge of transportation. I mean, there goes your expertise argument.
Right,
so,
yeah.
I don't like the argument and I don't agree with it, but you have to understand that is the point.
Well, then we need to term limit our bureaucrats then, because they're the ones who do the most damage.
Well, we need to limit the bureaucracy. I mean, if anything that USAID and DOGE is starting to show us is how, the administrative state is, you know, like if you're dividing this up into like pieces of pie, like our elected officials are like one piece of the pie and the administrative state is like 9/10 of it.
And this is
It's
exactly
like we have to, like, you know, and we've only just seen the tip of the iceberg at this point, and it's been such a revelation. And one that, I mean, for me, it's like to my core, and I think a lot of people feel this way. I mean, so many people are extremely upset. I mean, I've never seen abolish the IRS trend. People who are not
Well,
libertarians.
wait a minute, Olga. That's one thing I think everyone on this show could agree on is
Right, but my
abolishing
point
the
is, like,
IRS.
you see people who like they're not political, like the thought never occurred to them, and they are just jumping on and sharing, like they don't even want to file their taxes this year because they are livid at what's happening, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. And so, I mean, I hope it would be great if we could scale back the bureaucracy, because in reality, that is really what needs to happen. It's a scary idea because we just are so used to having so much of it. But I think we're in a revolutionary moment right now. And I think if Doge continues to do what it's doing, and we have, I mean, the incredible efforts of, you know, not only like, you know, Elon Musk and that team, but people like Data Republican and what she's revealing and what she's starting to focus on, the interrelationships between the bureaucracy and these non-for-profits and politicians and sitting judges and their families. I mean, so much is coming out. My white pill would be, you know, my hope would be that so many people are becoming radicalized in all this and really want to see a complete return to a lot more constitutional constraints on the federal government, and that means that the bureaucracy is going to have to shrink.
All right, in the time we have left, let's do a round robin.
Yeah.
Bruce?
So I just wanted to say that's I agree with all of that, but I also think that what you're looking at is exactly the degeneration of a good idea, right? That the original idea behind the bureaucracy is, hey, what if instead of the governor's drinking buddies and cousins writing land use regulations, we hired somebody who had actually studied land use? Okay, that's where the bureaucracy comes from. And it's just been on autopilot for so long that now we're sitting around thinking, you know, I'm not really sure I wouldn't be better off with the governor's drinking buddies.
Correct. Yes.
All right, in the time we have last comments. Mr. Widener, sir, what you want to see tonight, what you don't want to see, Doge, the border. We didn't get the anti-Semitism. We didn't get the government shutdown, which I wanted to talk about, the American dream in Paris.
I just think, like I said at the beginning, he should come out as a statesman. You know, and I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with Trump in his second term. He seems a lot more mature. He seems a lot more statesman-like. I think, you know, getting shot at and ending up in a bloody mess on a stage will do that to you. I think he's not going to be taken for a fool by guys like Mike Pence and the folks who said, oh, we'll surround you with people who know what we're doing in Washington, D.C. He's putting in the people who he knows are going to push his agenda, who he's known for the last 4 years or more. And so I'd like to see him come out and be statesman-like and be a great leader and use that kind of language. I mean, as a professional speaker and author, words matter. You know, the old proverb from the book Proverbs, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And it's one of my favorite proverbs. And the reality is what you say creates a reality. If he comes out and he's statesman-like, yes, MSNBC and CNN are going to still say bad things about him, but the average American watching is going to go, wow, that's not the Trump. He's not that, you know, crazy guy or the, you know, the buffoon or the blowhard or, you know, whatever. He's really sort of Reagan-esque.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, anybody who wants to hang around, we are doing live commentary on the presidential congressional address. So you guys, so we're sort of having like a little intermission. We're going to end this segment, but anybody who wants to stay and talk
Did I know
smack,
about this? Did I know about this?
You did. So we had a very different planning meeting yesterday.
We had a failure to communicate. Ben Weir, final comments.
All right. What I would like to see Trump talk about is obviously, you know, giving more I want to see more decentralization, obviously, but I want to really see him talk about, the ending foreign aid, like obviously with Ukraine and stuff like that, but especially with Israel. We need to be ending the foreign wars and ending all foreign influence over United States politics. And I think that a lot of that starts with ending foreign aid and cutting every single dollar that's going off overseas to every country, period. We need to start taking care of ourselves. It doesn't mean be isolationists, but, as Trump has been doing with other countries like Argentina, opening up a free trade agreement today, I think that there's other opportunities for diplomacy. And, I'd love to see more diplomacy, less bureaucracy, and maybe an audit of the Federal Reserve. That would be really great.
Hashtag and the Fed.
All right. Steve?
Yeah, I would
You're,
like to.
you're up next because of the whole aid comment.
Yeah, so we need more aid, not less aid. To pull back all the aid is a silly comment. Israel needs as much aid as possible. It's our only ally. It's our most trusted ally in the world. With no Israel, there would be complete instability in the Middle East. There would be chaos like you've never seen before. It's the only, normal country in the Middle East. We need Israel. They need our aid. I do agree that at some point Israel should and will be able to stand on their own 2 feet, but that's a long time away. There are places where we should give money. There are places that we shouldn't give money. We should continue to give money to Egypt. And I hope that Trump comes out tonight and hammers home the Palestinian Palestinian supporters, the Hamas supporters, the Hezbollah supporters. I hope he and Leo Terrell and Linda McMahon continue to threaten to pull funding from public institutions, educational institutions. We have to de-radicalize these places. They are ruining young people. And like I said, we lost one generation. I'm not going to sit back and watch another generation get lost, but to suggest that we should pull back on aid is a non-starter. And by the way, it ain't going to happen.
Okay. Right. Olga, last thoughts.
What I would like to see is, I'm curious where Doge is going. I think there's been a really good momentum with it. I think it's stirred and it's opened a lot of eyes for, just like I said, everyday people who are not necessarily, they may have voted for him, but they're not hardcore. I think this is something that's radicalizing people. I would like to see more on that, in terms of going into like how many more agencies, and deregulating and decentralizing, kind of getting rid of a good amount of the federal bureaucracy. Like, I'm really hoping like that exposure continues to happen. So I'm hoping to hear more about that tonight.
Yes. Dr. Abramson, sir.
So, I've already said what I hope to hear on domestic policy. I think it's important that Trump put forward a view of the world. And I think, we can talk about cutting aid or not cutting aid, but the problem is that not every dollar that we send abroad is aid, right? It's sort of, investment and consumption are two ways that I take a dollar out of my pocket. They're different things. I think the way that you have an America First foreign policy is you have America backing and supporting allies who are willing to invest heavily in their own defense, and we help them do that. And we've actually got these stark contrasts between Israel on the one hand and Europe on the other, between the Gaza war on the one hand and the Ukraine-Russia war on the other. The Biden administration kept both wars going needlessly. They gave Ukraine just enough to keep fighting, and they restrained Israel from winning when it was clear that their enemies were not going to relent. Trump needs to go in the other direction. He needs to make it clear that what he is doing is working towards ending these wars and motivating our allies to strengthen and support themselves, yet to remain our allies. And that means convincing Ukraine that it's time to stand down because they can't displace Russia from territory it's already seized. Yeah. And it means dropping the restraints on Israel and saying to them, go do what you need to do to win and stabilize the region. And that is the pattern that we need to set around the world, and to say to all of our allies, we want you to be able to defend yourselves as the Israelis do, And when we see that that's the investment you're making in yourself, we will invest in you. And until you're willing to do that, then it's just a gift and we're not subsidizing you.
Okay, you guys. Flash
Ericka,
round.
take us home, Ericka.
You ready? We've got a flash round. We just got a great question comment. I'm not exactly sure who it was directed at, but so 30 seconds or less. I know a bunch of you are verbose, so you know who I'm talking to. 30 seconds or less. What do you guys think about the tariffs?
Love the tariffs.
I think we should get rid of the income tax and go back to what we did before we had an income tax and fund everything through tariffs.
Taxation is theft. Tariffs are tax, and therefore tariffs are theft, and they should not be implemented whatsoever.
Okay.
How,
Ben,
I got a
if
question
you're
for you.
on
How
after,
is it-
we're totally talking
I
about
want
this.
clarification though. How is it theft? Nobody's required to pay that.
Well, hold on. It's
You know.
30 seconds. This isn't talkback
Well, he
time.
has 12 seconds.
Because it's
left.
reflected on the consumer. It's just a tax that's passed off to the consumer. That's all
It's
it
all
is.
voluntary. It's all voluntary. I don't have to.
Okay,
buy
but
something
this
based.
isn't. No, this
That's
isn't
all.
debate time. If you want to stay
Steve.
for debate time, you can
No.
stay for the commentary later.
I don't have an issue with tariffs when needed. I think now is the wrong time. So I'm thumbs down.
Okay.
Bruce.
Okay. Chris
We
must
need
be
to have
for
a-
them.
We need to have a better definition of strategic industries and apply tariffs to protect the industries that are really strategic and drop them elsewhere.
How about
Olga.
have some strategic industries?
I'm curious and I'm interested in how Trump is going to use tariffs. I think he's using them strategically, and I think he is playing like 4D chess. I think it's a negotiating tool. If the stepping stone is, we abolish income tax and then tariffs is the thing, and then we can choose not to buy, I'm open to that stepping stone because I'd love to abolish income tax. I'd love to abolish property tax. I'm more curious about it because I see some of the concessions that are happening as a result of him using tariffs as a negotiation. So I'm really curious.
Okay,
how all
it
of
was
this plays
30
out.
seconds, Olga. I didn't think you were
Okay.
going to be the one that went over.
I know. No, I didn't. Stop.
You had Olga on
Pick
your
on
bingo
me.
card just go over 30 seconds.
Don't pick on me because I'm Latinx.
No, I love it, you guys. I love it. So we just want to thank everybody that's been here today.
Thank
Now,
you,
remember,
everybody.
yes. So now remember, we're going to have live commentary on the congressional address. So if you want to stay, any of the guests, you guys want to stay on, hang out and talk smack, we can do that. And then, and you guys watching, stay and hang out. So around the screen,
The horn.
we've got Chris Widener, Olga Maria, Ben Weir, Dr. Bruce Abramson, and Steve Rosenberg. Thank you guys all for being here
Thanks,
tonight,
guys.
sharing your opinions, sharing your thoughts. So who's going to stay and hang out with us?
I'll chill.
Yeah.
I got a newborn that's fussy out there. So
Oh, what?
I'd say-
Okay, Ben.
I'd say you have your priorities right, Ben.
yeah.
If you want to come back though, bro, you are welcome because this is fun. I like getting to argue a little bit in a good-natured argument is good for everybody, y'all. So
Sure.
we just
Everyone
want to
needs the neighborhood anarchist, right?
Right.
Amen.
I can
Good
come
kind.
back. I can come back in a bit, but I
Oh.
need a few minutes off screen.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, so you guys,
Thank you.
if you have been watching for this long and you hated it, go ahead and like it anyway. Leave a hate comment because all engagement is good engagement. But if you did get something out of it, go ahead and share with your friends and family. Subscribe to the channel that you're watching on and leave us a thumbs up. All right, you guys? And make sure to go check out our sponsors, Israel Appreciation Day and the American Center for Education and Knowledge. And, donate and buy some stuff.
merch. Buy
And
some merch.
Okay, you guys. So here's what we're
Outro.
going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to play a 5-minute countdown. We're going to play the Israel Appreciation Day highlight reel and then a countdown. And so we'll be back in about, 5-7 minutes. All right, y'all? All right. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Do.
Hello, and thank you for being here. This is the first ever Israel Appreciation Day.
I believe in the words of Israel's first leader, David Ben-Gurion, who said, "One does not write history, one makes history.
The history of the Jewish people is one of rising and flourishing, despite thousands of years of being attacked, exiled, and scapegoated.
And I'm honored to join all of you in celebrating the first annual Israel Appreciation Day. And there are many reasons to appreciate Israel. It's one of America's closest allies in the world. It's a safe haven for persecuted people, and it's a wellspring of innovation.
That the land of Israel was given to the Jewish people, not by the United Nations, but by God himself.
Well, no one wants to fight. I'd love not to have this weapon, to be in a bulletproof vest, to serve in the IDF.
We cannot allow the worst instincts in our society to win. We must stand proud, and we must stand tall.
This is the Jewish moment, when the Jewish people stands for life over death and shows the lost and confused West how to survive.
From the Chalutzim, the pioneers, the original and early inhabitants of the land, even before the official creation of the State of Israel in 1948.
In my mind, one does not have to be Jewish to support Israel in their battle against the evil that is Hamas. One only has to be human.
Our Jewish community is stronger than ever.
And Israel's two things. It's not just a place, it's also a people.
We're only a generation away from the Holocaust. And understanding, yes, it could happen again. My daughter came home and said, is there going to be another Holocaust?
I couldn't live with myself if I didn't stand with Israel and the Jewish people at this moment in time when they most need us.
A free press during the Israel-Hamas conflict has provided real-time updates on terror attacks. And if we don't learn from those conflicts and wars, we're doomed to repeat the same mistake.
And it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to come out and be a voice of one sometimes. What did you do professionally prior to October 7th?
It is your duty as a Jew to shine the light. Go on to social media.
Why would you flourish under persecution? And the answer is that's our nature. That's always been our nature. When our enemies terrorize us and they come after us, what you see is a direct correlation to innovation.
The nation of Israel lives.
Hey, everybody. Okay, I did not know that was going to cut us back to the show. All right, you guys, we just changed the branding up over to generally irritable for the after hours program. Yeah, I thought I was going to have another minute, but hey, since I've got Olga backstage, are you ready to join me? Can I throw you in here? All right, girl. Hey,
girl.
What's happening? Hi. All right, you guys. So we're going to get ready to watch the presidential address. I'm sure it's coming up. So Olga, tell us just for, to give us a little entertainment. What is it like in Vermont now? Because they lost the supermajority in the legislature. For those of our viewers who don't know, Vermont is basically a bunch of commies. And I mean, like, really. And at one point, and they had a supermajority, so they were able to override the governor's veto. Which I have plenty of criticisms for the governor, but you're right, they did. So what is the energy like now in Vermont that things are starting to shift a little bit?
So before Friday,
before
the Zelensky, Trump, Vance, like
blow
wrestling
up
tag team event, and then subsequently JD Vance flew into Vermont like right after that. It was really interesting because I think generally the Democrats and the leftists and the progressives were kind of like beat down and, but when that happened, that was kind of like a reactivation. So it's been really interesting, but the Democrats still have a majority here in Vermont. So the Republicans put through to, basically put in a bill to end the clean heat standard. That is a bill that is essentially going to increase the cost for Vermonters to stay warm. And it's crazy because we've had one of the coldest winters here in like over a decade.
Wow.
And the heating bill for people who have oil or propane, I mean, it's really hard. We have wood, and it's just kind of like we have wood stoves. And a lot of people in Vermont, as you know, Ericka, like we have wood stoves.
That's right.
And that's
so hold on. We're getting some audio feedback here. Hold on. Okay, try that again.
But they're blocking that, right? And it's interesting because many Vermonters, the whole North Country went red, which was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And way more Vermonters actually did vote for Trump than the last time.
Yeah, I think it was like a 14% or 14-point change. Yep.
So it kind of pushed it like into the high 30s, I think, which is really like for Vermont, that's like, wow. But again, this was all over the country. And so there's been a lot of pushback on these kind of policies that the Democrats have been pushing through, but they still have the majority. So they're not really listening to a lot of their constituency, and they're they're still playing this game of blocking. And
get them out of there, vote them out, y'all.
I know, and I think it's going to be an interesting interplay with organizations that have been relying on like USAID and these other types of grants that are now halted. It's going to be really interesting to me to see how this plays out in the local politics, because I just think a lot of these organizations have this type of funding. It makes a lot of sense now why so many politicians and different groups here are so propped up.
Yeah.
When they're not really producing.
Well, and that's what I know. I offended some people when I said that every politician has taken a bribe, but I don't know what you call it when special interest groups come to you and they say, we will give you our credibility. We will lend you, even if they don't offer you money, their endorsement, we'll endorse you, but you have to agree to these things. Right. Every single one of those contacts I got was, we would like you to do a thing for us. And it usually costs to taking money out of your pocket or taking away or infringing on your rights. Yeah. And you know what? I'm just not with that. Okay, so hang on. The president is coming in.
Wow.
Can you hear that audio?
I can't.
No? Okay. So hang on one second. Let me check this out, guys.
Make sure you check the box.
Check the boxes. Okay. And we've got Lord Redic joining us this evening as well.
Get the man of the manna.
The man of the manna. I like that. Honey, you're gonna have to help me because I don't know how to I don't understand how to do the stupid mute
And I just
thing
think
properly.
it's incredible. There has been a cultural shift, and I just feel like positive manhood is back. I just think
Yes.
like positive femininity is back. I just see like all of these women and girls that are pushing back against the biological men in sports. I just think we're at a counter revolution moment of just this cultural revolution that has been hoisted upon us and has come
Yes.
into fruition. And I just think so many parents and young people are over it. And I think this is why Donald Trump won. I think it's why
Yep.
he's still popular. And I think it's one of the things that gives him and his team energy to keep pushing the gap. Keep pushing
That's right.
the goalposts,
That
because they're
is
like,
right.
people are really digging this. Like, let's keep going further. And I think with Elon Musk, I think their hands are way more on the pulse of the country and what we want to see than it ever has been before.
I love it. I love it, you guys. I'm very curious what he's going to say. Okay, so I say we're going to take a over under on how long this speech is going to be. Okay, so he's done like 90 minutes. He's done like 20 minutes. So
I think it's going to be a long one.
Yeah,
I think so. I think
over 60.
So much has gone on. I mean, I think it's going to be at least 40 minutes. I don't think it could be less than that because there's just so much to talk about.
Well, and that's the thing. And y'all, here's what's so funny is I was like, we shouldn't even.
I just want to say, I hope he abolishes daylight savings time. I'm just putting that.
Oh, yes. Okay, hang on a second. We had a comment. Somebody said that.
Me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second. Where is it back? Yes, abolish daylight savings time. I'm with it.
It's just bad for people's health.
Wait, really, Joseph? Really? In 2025, that's what we're doing?
Yes. Well, the prior comment was, how long do you think Trump is going to go for tonight? And then
Okay, that was my fault. Yeah, that was my fault. I set that up by accident, y'all. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Okay, so I love
First
it.
he's
Okay.
got to get through, the standing ovations. I wish we can have a split screen of what the Democrats are doing right now. Like, are they sitting on their hands? Are they pouting?
Right?
Is their head in the sand? Like, what?
I'm curious. We've heard rumors that there's supposed to be some antics tonight, and so Nancy Pelosi isn't going to be able to be back there ripping stuff up anymore, doing her little
Awesome.
her little show. Right? We don't have Kamala back there. We've got two Republicans standing behind the president. So
Right.
I'm very
I have to
curious.
say, like, I am a huge fan of JD Vance.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read his book, but like I've watched the movie based on his book, Hillbilly Elegy, and I feel like a proud aunt. I really do. I am, he's just super impressive, and I don't know.
Yep.
I hope he goes for the next, for 2028. I would love to see him and oh gosh, his name is blanking out.
I don't know which one you mean.
He's running for governor of Ohio. Just
Vivek.
Oh, Vivek.
Vivek. I would love to see him in Vivek.
Oh,
It's Vivek.
Vivek.
You know why I know that?
It's or according to Jay the Shepherd, Vivek.
That's why I know it's Vivek.
We love Jay the Shepherd. We're gonna turn y'all into anarchists eventually.
Let's
okay?
hear this. Wait, I want to hear this. The applause.
Okay, wait. So can y'all hear it?
Not yet.
You have to unmute the screen.
I did unmute it.
Oh.
Wait. Oh, I have to unmute the screen.
There you go.
Okay, now I
Nice.
can't. Why can't I hear it?
It'd be fun to see what it looks like on CNN. They're probably not even showing.
Well, babe, I used to have. Wait,
right?
hold on one quick second. So I used to have to plug into the Mayonacaster to be able to hear the screen.
Thank you very much.
Here we go.
It's a great honor. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Speaker
y'all are on your
Johnson,
own because I can't hear it.
Vice
Oh,
President
no.
Vance, the First Lady of the United States.
He's giving a shout out to his boy Vance and his wife.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
Just like that.
Oh my gosh, yep. Of course the Democrats are just sitting on their hands, sourpuss faces.
They hate the fact that America's back.
Yeah. There we go. Look at the sourpuss faces.
6 weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in...
Oops. What happened? Oh, there's Elon. In a suit.
Oh, wow.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
There's definitely been that confidence.
The American
For
dream
sure.
is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes.
I still can't wrap my head around it.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
What? What's their problem? Here we go. Here you go.
Here we go.
That's
Say,
right. That's it.
USA. USA. Are they booing the fact that he won by so many votes?
Yeah. Oh, no, they're trying to say, Elon stole it for him or something. Oh, what happened to the sound?
One counties in our country, 2,700.
Keep talking, Trump.
25. On a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever.
That's right. I like how JD Vance stood up. He's ready. He is ready to put it up.
Oh, man. This is hilarious.
Seems to be enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Small business
Who knew this was coming?
saw its single largest 1-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions.
Look at what is he trying? Come on.
Look at how classy they are.
Sit down.
Look at how classy they are. Look at the adults being back in the room. Look at.
Prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session.
Yeah, JD's like, I'll restore some order.
I love this.
Continue to show the buffoonery that we.
Well, you're just seeing the hypocrisy live in HD.
Yeah.
They can't, liberals cannot have good conversations and debates. And you see it all the time. And this is just more of that on a bigger scale. So.
Yeah, again, I thought the adults were in the room. I thought the Democrats were the adults.
They're booing democracy.
Yeah, this strategy is supposed to be disruptive.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll kick it back on.
Trump loves it. He's like, this is great TV.
Yeah, it's great.
I feel like it's stop action TV though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's doing this work.
Well, and that is the whole point, right? Is they don't care. He's winning points with the wokies and his fools that elected him.
All of this stuff, I think this just bolsters him even more.
I feel like I'm watching bad congressional animation now.
Ericka, what's the resolution on the channel you're watching?
Members are directed to uphold and maintain the quorum in the House.
Or the volume.
Mr. President,
resolution.
Thank you. Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it.
Okay. Gotta clap for that. You're not clapping for wealth all across the land. Again, you're weird.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Imagine what'll happen when he
It
says
has been
something
stated by
controversial.
many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many.
That's right.
And what makes it even more
False
impressive.
signs.
Do you know who number 2 is? George Washington.
People are
How about that?
self-deporting now.
How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever.
Ever. Incredible.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it.
They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country.
I heard that.
Who would want to do that? This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
With
He's
their
not
silly
wrong.
signs.
He's cooking them, but he's
Yeah.
not wrong. It's a little petty, but he's not wrong.
It's a lot petty.
Why are they wearing pink?
Women's rights? I don't know.
Is that
Maybe
for?
that's what
Is that the
issue
women wearing pink for women's sports?
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know who's wearing pink.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Ooh,
Oh, what
no.
happened to the sound?
Oh, Ericka muted it.
No.
The screen. I can't unmute it when you mute it. I didn't mute the screen. Oh,
Oh,
I didn't.
is Pelosi holding a bottle of wine?
Yeah, I
they
feel
are
like that's
capturing
Photoshop.
audio.
Is it because I unplugged my headphones
Probably.
to try to be able to hear?
Yeah, you got to do that.
Okay, well then I can't participate.
I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization.
That's the sound from my phone.
And I also withdrew from
Look
the
at the screen that says
Human
there.
Rights Council. We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions.
Thank you,
that
Olga. Give me 1 second.
be far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term.
I like that.
Electric vehicle mandate,
Okay.
saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction.
Now we got sound. That's a little delayed.
To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term. And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job. And we've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
Balls.
And I've stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
Oh, they hate that too.
Yeah.
And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of
That's
the United
big.
States of America.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah. It's so many things he does every day. It's hard to keep up, honestly.
I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
That one is kind of stupid.
I like it though.
I keep going back to the people who are trying to get the Persian Gulf
For a
renamed the
great
Arabian
president,
Gulf.
William McKinley, Mount McKinley again.
Can we change it back to Fort Hood?
Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military.
Oh, you mean we can't discriminate based on race, sex, and sexual orientation anymore?
Look at what's her face.
No longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender.
Yes.
It's crazy that this is where we are.
Do we have to say that?
Apparently.
In 2025?
Yeah.
You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Again, not a thing you would have ever thought you had to.
I mean, if someone said that 20 years ago, we would be here. I'd be like, you're crazy.
Now, here's the deal. I did accidentally walk into the men's locker room at Planet Fitness the other day, but I was like, they allow transgenders, so it'll be fine.
In women's sports.
But that's a whole different planet, so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like something trivial, but for the athletes, this is so huge. I'm so happy Riley Gaines is there.
Peyton McNabb
Oh,
was
and
an
look, it's
all-star
Matt Walsh
high
and
school
Ben
athlete,
Shapiro.
one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding.
Wow. And this is where the governor of Maine is doubling down, so that should be interesting how that plays out.
Yep.
I didn't realize she was paralyzed on her face from that.
Maine could proceed. It's not really doing anything there.
And if you really want to see numbers, just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman.
Wow.
For a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer.
That's right.
I hate to say it, but even in women's sports, men are still winning. Yeah.
Well, you know, not so much gymnastics or ice dancing.
Just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen.
So, the Josie Santos says official language in a land that speaks freely.
And get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare.
Yep.
Their policies drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. It never had anything like it. We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what we need.
One thing I wanted to say, about Joseph. I think you're saying that people should be able to speak whatever language they want. If you live here and you're a citizen here, you should be able to speak passable English. I'm sorry.
Yep.
If you travel abroad, you know why they think we're rude in other countries? Because Americans expect people to speak
English to them.
And that's disrespectful.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, there was always people speaking Spanish here in Texas, but I didn't used to go into stores where the clerk couldn't speak English, and that's happening now.
And what it refers to when it's an official language, it's, for the functions of the government. So it's not that you can't speak whatever language you want. It's just like when it comes to documentation and processes that involve the government, it's English.
Yeah. We have to hire extra people just to help you.
It's kind of been that way. It's just never been official.
Yeah.
But also, if you speak English slowly and extra loud, everybody can understand it.
My grandmother, God rest her soul. I will never forget hearing this story. She apparently they went on this trip like across the South or whatever. It was my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother, my sister, a whole family. And my grandmother went up to a Native American and said, "You speak 'em English?"
Oh, wow. That's rough.
I was like, "You are joking. That did not really happen. Please tell me she was joking." No, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get back to it.
Oh, well, look, it actually ties into the whole immigration debate. That the first question, when our immigration system worked, it was because we invested heavily in Americanization.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first question is, how much are we willing to invest in teaching new arrivals English and civics and American history so that they want to become citizens?
Yeah.
Once you tell me what we're willing to invest, then I can tell you where we can set immigration levels.
Yeah.
Not just in the world where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one. It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA.
Yep. As it should be.
I like that.
The people have been bragging forever how much we've reduced our pollution or this or that. And it's largely because we've shipped all of our mining and manufacturing overseas.
To combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but we'll be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars.
I wonder if he's gonna. His face. I like how he's like, he poses. He knows the camera.
Created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Yes.
I'm a fan.
There's Elon.
I'm a fan.
Everyone's favorite, autistic.
Who is in the gallery tonight?
Listen to that applause.
There's also some booze in there.
The Democrats are holding signs blaming him.
Oh, look, it's
Except
Peter
the blame.
Wells from Vermont, that sucker.
Yeah. Look what
He's such a tool.
He's working very hard.
Freaking
He didn't need this.
Pocahontas.
He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe.
That's right.
They just don't want to admit that.
Did you see Amy Coney Barrett just smirk and look down?
We have already identified $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is.
What?
What? $1 million to promote LGBTQI+. In the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian
Getting a nasty letter from the South
in Central America. $60 million.
He's cooking
$8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left
I would have made mice transgender
propaganda
for 50
operation
million.
in Moldova. $10 million for male
10 million tops.
circumcision
I
in
could do it.
Mozambique.
Wow.
$20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program.
I mean, in reality, all of that
$1.9
money
billion
it's money
to
laundering.
recently
Yeah, it
It's
is.
not for that.
All these NGOs, their executives make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of
And they're
dollars.
funneling,
Just
they're
at the
funneling
last
that
moment,
money
the
for
money was
things,
passed
for
over
weapons
That's
and
right.
by a
else.
woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard?
Uh-oh. Stacey Abrams.
A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million
Why?
for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in
Wait,
Mali.
voter confidence in
$59
Liberia?
million for illegal
Yep.
alien hotel rooms in New York City.
We need voter confidence here.
Look at what's his
He's a
face,
real
Cory
estate
Booker.
developer. He's done very well.
That's not Cory Booker. That's
$1,000 to increase
okay.
local
No, now we
climate
know
action
Olga's a
innovation.
racist because she thinks all light-skinned black dudes look the same. What is it, Hakeem Jeffries? That's it.
Hakeem.
$14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia.
We're getting
They're not even trying to hide it with
hold on.
very well.
with
I want to
these
be clear about
names.
this. When people talk about Doge and they're like, oh, well, they're doing too much. Any money going to other countries for stupid
They're not
stuff like
doing
this,
enough. Yeah.
it's not even going. You're taking money from us to send to other places for stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Well,
even like
I-
AIDS
it's
medication. It's
Right, but this is the point though. The transgender mice and whatever, those are all covers because the CIA is using a lot of these organizations to get money for different there's a whole dark seedy side to what this money is actually funding. They're just using these NGOs and stuff. So it sounds funny, but this money is doing dangerous stuff and it's going into, enemies of the United States and it's doing violence and all types of stuff in other places.
I've heard.
So you don't think we're getting reviews like, sorry, I can't renew your contract because you didn't make those mice transgender. They just
Yeah,
walk with a little lip.
Look, it's the government. I can believe either one. You know what? Let me switch it out for you. Hold on.
Wait. Yep. Okay, and hang on, you guys. Hang tight with me. We lost the feed, so I'm bringing it back.
See that? We've switched to the tinfoil hat. I was ready.
Oil cat.
Yeah, I've got 3 hats over here ready for whatever scenario you throw at me. I could totally believe everything you said. I'm sure that some of that money is going to absolute foolishness, and some of it's definitely probably going to activities that very well may benefit American interests, but that doesn't make it good.
Or
That
not.
doesn't mean, or not.
Most likely it's not.
But even if it is,
Right.
you're still draining our pockets to do things that many people don't think you should be doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter why.
Okay, keep talking because we lost the Fox News feed. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem we have in this country, and that you have to pretend crap that's not out there. So if we'd gone into Iraq and said, look, there's an authoritarian who's anti-American, we're going to knock him out, we're going to put in another strongman who's pro-American, and after he consolidates power, then we'll talk to him about being nice to his people. Everybody would have gone, that's a terrible thing. So instead, we have to pretend that getting rid of the totalitarian is going to turn them into a bunch of Madisonians. That's nuts. It's like, be honest about what you're doing and do stuff that could work.
Or don't do it at all.
But also, some of the things that we're doing are because we did other stupid stuff before, and it creates, it's a second, third order effect of something we did back over here. So you're totally right. But also, currently, let's not cause a bunch of problems.
No, absolutely. If we hadn't put those mice through gay conversion therapy before, we wouldn't have to fix them back now.
Well, they didn't. They wouldn't have to do that. All you got to do is feed them tap water because it works on the frogs. Why would it work on the mice?
It's a matrazine.
Okay,
take
wait,
them
here
down
we
to
go.
wherever they're
Wait,
smoking
wait, Olga, it's your man. It's your man.
Let's see.
Including, to finish, 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229.
Please.
One person
Still.
between the age of 240 and 249. And one person is listed at 360 years of age.
Older than America.
More than 100 years. More than 100 years older than our country.
If the Democrats had that 360-year-old sitting with them in the gallery, he would look
Right.
really silly right now.
That'd be great. They could produce that.
Car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families.
That's right. That's worth standing. Oh, we can't even stand for that.
No. Don't be silly.
They don't care about that.
And then I hope Americans are watching that. I hope every American is seeing this.
It's
Isn't the reference to pockets a slur against people who wear dresses?
Say that again.
Isn't the thing about pockets putting down people who wear dresses?
Oh, wow.
But dresses have pockets.
Well,
Some-
not the fancy ones.
Pockets.
Nice. Well played, sir.
I love it. I love it.
With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale
Which is
very,
insane.
very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like
Pay
a
down the
green
debt.
card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them in our country instead of having them being forced out. Number one, at the top school, as an example, being forced out and not being allowed to stay and create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success for a company out there. So while we take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country,
Good
we
for
will
him.
now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people.
What is happening?
He is
that
not holding back anymore.
he held back the first time.
Yeah.
And he was
And
nice.
he's done.
And they didn't want to do politics with him and
Right.
make a deal.
Yep.
And so
Well,
now,
they try to kill him.
yeah, now you're getting the opposite side.
Right.
And he's just throwing haymakers
It's unleashed.
everywhere.
I love it.
It's funny to me.
Yeah.
Profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal bureaucracy has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again.
Hallelujah. All right, Mr. Ben Weir got his wish. He's talked
You
about
see this
deregulation.
Musk's.
Repeat that.
Say it again, Olga.
I said the signs that they're holding on one side, it says Musk steals. And I think the other side, some of them, it says false.
I mean, for Democrats to talk
They're
about
not-
anybody stealing is wild.
It's
to me.
wild.
They're not even creative, though. That's what's funny about it.
Well, did you see the thing going on Twitter today where like 20, 25 of them made the same video?
Yeah, the same exact words, acting as if they're like speaking,
On their
independently.
The NPCs got their download.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's all it is. Yeah.
It's a Call of Duty update.
Right.
Well,
that is a smirk.
it could be a miracle. No, they
First,
don't believe. No,
to
they don't believe.
pass
They don't
tax
believe in those
cuts
things.
for everybody. They're in there. They're waiting for you to vote.
Ooh.
And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax.
False. False.
This dude is cooking them.
Wait, what did he just say? What I missed?
I don't know. I miss it.
Pull it back.
Oh, Lord.
Thank you. It's a very, very big part of our plan. We had tremendous success in our first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board.
Oh, Amen.
And to get urgently needed.
Abolish it.
Abolish.
I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're on the island.
Aren't I supposed to? Isn't that supposed to be muted?
It's echoing.
No,
Yeah, it
I'm-
keeps
I'm not-
unmuting
not
for
in
some. I'm
favor
not
of
touching
anything that adds distortion to the tax.
Start by
code.
paying your taxes. Look at this idiot. No, don't pay. No one pay taxes. Starve it. I see what you do with my taxes.
But only if the car
Exactly.
is made in America.
Here's the thing. I'd pay taxes if y'all weren't transing the frickin' mice.
And
you know, like I'll pay my reasonable share. I'm not an anarchist, but y'all can't be transing frickin' mice and want me to pay for it.
God.
See, my problem is just anything that adds distortions to the tax code makes it harder to get rid of it.
Correct.
Correct.
You just have to strip it. You got to strip it.
And anytime you say taxes are paid by other people, you make it harder to get rid of the taxes.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys, I'm an accountant, okay? I do taxes. You would not believe I know, exactly. You would not believe the stupid nonsense rules and loopholes. I have advocated for a flat tax for decades.
That would definitely be a better way to go.
Yeah, and
So
trust me,
better-
y'all, there's plenty of other accounting to do that's not tax related. So nobody's going to lose their freaking jobs.
There's even a better idea than a flat tax. Go back to the original system, okay? The same census that we use for representation should be used to apportion the federal government, the federal budget.
Okay.
By the states. And not that the states put in their own tax policy, but basically, you know, just if the states are sending people, that would discipline the census towards honesty, because you may gain representation if you pad your rolls, but you're also getting a tax burden. And it would also discipline the congressional representation from voting nonsense into the federal budget, because at least the people coming from big states who sway it would end up with the bulk of it.
Good.
bulk
I
of
like
the cost.
that. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it.
First term. We had a great first
Oh,
term.
come on. It was the best first
If you
term
don't make your
ever.
product in America,
Never
however,
better.
under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them?
BRICS and some other ones.
And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%.
Oh, wow.
China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that,
Wow.
4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea, but that's what happens. This is happening by friend and foe. This system is not fair to the United States and never was. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day cost us a lot of money. but we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person.
That's a funny
April
day.
2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them.
Look at Rosenberg.
They're mad about that.
They're
Shouldn't
mad
be.
about everything.
Oh, we lost it.
Mm.
See, I have it on phone, but it's
Billions
on.
of dollars and create
Oh, there we go,
jobs
there we go.
like we have never seen before. I did it with China and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer.
Mm-hmm. It supposedly made us stronger and better to be in debt to other countries. They benefit from
Correct.
having our money and taking our stuff, and we supposedly benefit from giving them our stuff.
Being
Very
in
large
state.
deficit, both of them, but even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds of thousands of our
That's right.
citizens and many very young, beautiful people, destroying families. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They are, in effect, receiving subsidies of hundreds of billions of dollars. We pay subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will not be doing that any longer.
That's
We're not
right.
gonna do it any longer.
Yeah, why would we give money to countries that allow illegal immigrants and drugs to cross our borders? Why would we help them? Anybody got an answer for that?
There is no answer.
Just few weeks. Combination of the election and our economic policies that people of SoftBank, one of the most brilliant anywhere in the world, announced a $200 billion investment. OpenAI and Oracle, Larry Ellison, announced $500 billion investment, which they wouldn't have done if Kamala had won. Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. They'll be building their plants here instead of in China.
Good.
Wow.
And just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on earth right here in the USA.
Oh, that's big.
Wow.
That's super.
That's right. You guys remember during the pandemic, we were short semiconductors
Yeah.
for cars and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We cannot be reliant on countries who hate
I
us.
hope they
for-
do that with the medicines now.
Yes. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about, strategic industries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people.
That's right.
And they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get
Again,
rid of the CHIP Act.
the
and
chest I'm
whatever's
talking
left.
about.
Yep.
Repeat that again. What was that?
I said that's the chess that I'm talking about, that it's like this negotiation maneuver that he's using the tariffs for.
Oh, yeah, but the Joseph Santos said that he's not playing 3D chess. Wait, where did it go? I read that and I was like, that's crazy.
He's
not
playing,
playing
like,
3D
Benny
chess.
or
He's playing
something.
on a kid's playground. And I was like,
He's not.
is he though? Are you sure?
I mean, it was funny. It's a funny comment, but
Well, and look at the way he does it, right? He always comes in and he's like, "We're gonna do this and screw you, and we're gonna do whatever," right? And he's very braggadocious and very boisterous with what he says he's gonna do, but it's a negotiating tactic. But like, all you guys have to do is read
the
book.
book.
Part of the deal.
that's it. It's all in there.
Why would they read that? They've been told what to think about him from
Well, yeah.
the NPC update.
Right.
So you don't, NPCs in video games don't read
Right.
books.
They just get their update.
You get a new skin every 4 years, every 8 years. Every new skins, new talking points with every new patch. They don't read.
Sometimes you look at the comments and I can't even figure out if they're parodies animour. So I wrote this article yesterday about how Musk is zero basing the government with Doge.
Yeah.
So here's a comment I get. Okay, several problems here. First, there is no redundancy in the unique and rather impactful functions of government.
Oh, sure.
Like, is that serious or is that a parody?
Right. Is that right?
I don't know.
Is that sarcasm? I think that's got to be sarcasm.
I don't think so.
That's so sad.
Wow.
It's not. Oh, look at her on her. She's tweeting.
Oh, Peter Welsh is sleeping.
Oh my God.
Wait, put the sound on.
And lots of other things. We don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker, fantastic person from Decatur, Alabama. Jeff Denard has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raised 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
He also really actually genuinely seems to care about people. I don't know how you can fake that. I mean, maybe you can.
Yeah, there's so
It's not
many
just about
instances where like he'll stop and like that it's just he doesn't have to, and he'll stop and talk to someone or have like an interaction. It's like he didn't need to do all that at all, and he does it.
Yep.
You're great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but
I think Bill Clinton faked pretty well.
Won't be much.
Say that again, Bruce?
I think Bill Clinton faked pretty well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want to thank you very much. And I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States.
Oh. Why did she look confused?
She wasn't expecting that probably.
Melania's work has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by 2 impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited from the First Lady's Fostering the Future initiative and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer. With Elliston.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Wow.
Thank you very much, John. John Thune, thank you. Stand up, John. Thank you, John.
John Thune.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job.
I'm just noticing, by the way, how much better looking the Republican women are. I'm just
I know.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you.
My man
I'm
looks
going to use
hurt.
that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody. That's great. Thank you very much to the Senate. Thank you. But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals in the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies. They are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast.
You know,
Okay, you guys.
What I don't get.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I don't get how it is that there's nobody in the Democratic congressional delegation who's going, look, I don't like some of what they're doing, but the people I'm sitting with are just nuts.
I don't think they can. I think you see this in a lot of the state government. You get bullied if you are not. I mean, and this happens with the Republicans too, but you really get bullied. And I just think that right now there's, the heads of that party, in the House and the Senate, I think they just want absolute obedience.
There have to be people in there from swing districts who are going, you know what?
Yeah,
I'd actually do better in my district as a Republican. And
I wouldn't be surprised if there were any changes or for the 2 years.
Well, hang on 1 second, guys. He's talking about Laken Riley.
Okay.
Horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren.
Oh, he's going to do the emotional. Oh, that's savage.
Good.
That is savage.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like no holds barred. He's just like, I'm putting it all in your face, all of your failures, every time he can.
Yep. And everybody's watching, So
that's the flip side of being a lame duck.
Right.
I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act.
Good.
He's also playing too.
Say that again?
That he's also playing for the midterm elections in 2 years.
That is true. Good point.
They keep flipping and they keep it, yeah.
Well, the pitch for the midterms has to be, if you like some of the stuff I've been trying to do or I've done by executive order and you want to make it permanent, you got to give me the numbers.
You got it. Yeah.
Yep. That's right. That's a real good pitch. And ideally we get JD Vance in 4 years.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Assuming he doesn't end up being a butthole like everybody else.
Oh no.
He's a politician after all.
Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you.
Didn't he say this part already?
Yeah. He's going to repeat it.
Look at that face, y'all.
Yeah. He's got to keep hammering this home because this relates to everything else. But also, if you're a Democrat and you want to go to another endless, never-ending war, you might want a secure border.
Right.
Have fun.
Just a thought. So.
But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
There you go.
Look at the silence on the other side of it.
They're just done.
All right. They can be forgiven for not applauding that one.
No claps, no movement. They were like, nah.
Wait,
gosh,
return her to her home planet.
Joe Biden didn't just open our borders. He our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America.
Liberating all that free trade and capitalism.
Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungari from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are 2 illegal alien monsters from Venezuela, released into America by the last administration through their ridiculous open border. The death of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and the agony of her mother and family touched our entire nation greatly. Alexis, I promised that we would always remember your daughter, your magnificent daughter, and earlier tonight, I signed an order keeping my word to you. One thing I have learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge, a pristine, peaceful, 34,000-acre sanctuary for all of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of
Ericka
your
can't handle it.
beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order?
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much. All 3 savages charged with Jocelyn and Lakin's murders were members of the Venezuelan prison gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world, known as Tren de Aragua. 2 weeks ago, I officially designated this gang, along with MS-13 and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations.
I guess the judges.
Repeat that.
I said, I guess the Supreme Court judges, they cannot clap.
Correct. They're neutral.
Gotta be impartial.
Good for them. Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or, if they're too dangerous, put in jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever.
Guantanamo.
With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz. Great guy.
That guy looks so confused.
In January, Roberto and another agent were patrolling by the Rio Grande near an area known as Cartel Island. Doesn't sound too nice to me. When heavily armed gunmen started shooting at them, Roberto saw that his partner was totally exposed, at great danger, and he leapt into action, returning fire and providing crucial seconds for his fellow agent to seek safety, just barely. I have some of the prints of that event, and it was not good. Agent Ortiz, we salute you for your great courage and for your line of fire that you took and for the bravery that you showed. We honor you, and we will always honor you. Thank you, Roberto, very much.
All right, so we're about an hour in now.
Okay, so minimum 45 minutes, I said, and it's like I said, it's just so much to cover.
Yep.
And I think he really wants to like just hammer in every detail he can get.
Just wait until Alyssa Slotkin puts him in his place.
Right.
Entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control.
He's trying to get our stream disabled, bro. Come
I'm
on.
like, Lord, have mercy.
Posing a grave threat to our
beeping.
national security. The cartels are waging war in America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing.
No, Democrats like the cartels.
They do. We love us some cartels, y'all.
Lord have mercy.
Authorities, because of our tariff policies being imposed on them, think of this, handed over to us 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. That has never happened before. They were not this happy. First time ever.
About this.
But we need Mexico and Canada to do much more than they've done, and they have to stop the fentanyl and drugs pouring into the USA. They're going to stop it. I have sent Congress a detailed funding request laying out exactly how we will eliminate these threats to protect our homeland and complete the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than current record holder President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a moderate man, but someone who believed very strongly in borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it.
He's so funny.
He's ridiculous.
He's a freaking comedian, yo. Like, this is, right, this is one of the things that we talk about all the time. Art, comedy, like, these are the ways that you affect culture. And the fact that he's so flippant and all these quips. The same and say the same things, but don't have the platform.
Yeah.
System has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics. Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing
He is just cooking their whole team nonstop.
enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck.
They
Good
needed
luck.
it.
Pam Bondi. Good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash.
Let's get those Epstein files.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you. They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country, our firemen and women.
They're going to have the most respect. Never, ever has there been more respect had ever.
Record numbers, so I have no choice.
Oh, look! 2 down, 3 Democrats. You guys see that?
1 year
3
ago
Democrats
this month.
stood up.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a couple that time.
Oh, because he said firefighters.
Hey,
I mean, you can't even support firefighters. You're mental.
you can not support anybody. I'm just saying.
This criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. Wow. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended Officer Diller's service, and when I met his wife and 1-year-old son, Ryan, it was very inspirational, actually. His widow's name is Stephanie, and she is here tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much, Stephanie.
Oh my gosh,
She's so young. Oh my gosh, she looks like a baby.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I'm getting to the point that they all do. That's not good.
You get to the point where what?
They all do.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not good. Not
Going
good.
to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest, and we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here.
That's right.
I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer.
Wow.
And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't.
Not death. Not even life sentence. He said death penalty.
You know, some of this I have to admit, some of it does make me nervous because there's a part of me that also knows that
There's
Jack
people on the
broke
death
law.
penalty that, that are on death row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I think if the government stops infringing on people and we have less interactions, there's less accidental deaths, like the standoff that was in, where was that, Dakota, Idaho, whatever, the ranch.
yeah.
You have less of that happening.
Waco.
Then it turns into, if you have pure murder, it's a little bit different.
Oh my gosh, who was that? That was a
Becoming
little
a
boy.
police officer.
Always wearing father's uniform.
Yeah.
Wait, we missed it. What is that? Or his mom. Text. Are the Democrats still sitting down?
Yeah, probably.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, maybe this is about the experimental, the right to try?
Maybe.
Okay. Oh, look at the faces.
It's probably like, why are all those people sitting down?
Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Look at the boys.
He's like, what's happening right now? What do you mean?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can set them down.
I'll put him on close.
Oh. I bet the Democrats are still sitting.
Wow.
I hope they don't put him on a sloped roof.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're clapping and cheering for him.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine? They're still sending down these people.
Doctors believe his cancer likely came from a chemical he was exposed to when he was younger. Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So, the hatred's about to be strong now. Anything to say, Olga?
Well, it's just there's an army of mama and papa bears behind him, and we just don't give a F anymore. And the Democrats lost a chunk of people to their big pharma love fest. So it's on.
Copy.
Poisons out of our food supply and keep our children healthy and strong. As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong, 1 in 36, think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby, good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you.
And what's crazy is like all the yelling that the Democrats do. It's the same thing over and over. Like
ideologies and
nothing new.
A few years ago, January, Little John and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually. All without telling January, who is here tonight and is now a courageous advocate against this form of child abuse. January, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
And that's happening all over the country.
Thank you. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology.
It's still happening.
I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth.
Wow. This is what I'm talking about with this cultural shift. It's huge.
And criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body.
That's right.
Ooh, here we go.
And our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you.
Amen.
Democrats are definitely not standing for that one.
They're going to be pissed about that.
This out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better? Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete, congratulations.
Bruce,
Secretary
who's
of Defense.
Did they get rid of those officials that were pushing the DEI?
Wait, say that again?
Did they get rid of those generals and whoever that were pushing and supporting that? They fired them?
Supposed to. Yeah, Millie.
Yeah.
Thought they did.
And that all armed services are having among the best recruiting results ever in the history of our services.
The one
What a
guy is
difference.
smiling. Everybody else is stone-faced.
They're like, we're just doing what we're told.
That guy's kind of smiling.
And you know, it was just a few months ago where the results were exactly the opposite. We couldn't recruit anywhere. We couldn't recruit. Now we're having the best results just about that we've ever had. What a tremendous turnaround.
Just the best
It's
results
really
ever.
a beautiful thing to
No
see.
big deal.
People love our country again. It's very simple. They love our country and they love being in our military again. So it's a great thing, and thank you very much. Great job.
Amen.
All right. Okay.
And Pete
Repeat that.
that Pete Hesgath supports Defend the Guard.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is great.
Grandfather and great-grandfather all wore the uniform. Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service.
Wow.
Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA.
Goodness.
And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
I thought 4.0 was perfect. Okay, Bruce, you're the professor over here. I thought 4.0 was the highest GPA you could get. Explain it. How can he have a 4.6? Oh, what? What is it now?
No. It's a whole, you know, when I started doing admissions, I was still stuck in a world where if you got a A in math and a B in English, your GPA was 3.5. But it's a whole new world now.
Really?
It's new math.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm assuming.
I mean, he's a good student. That's what that means.
I'm assuming he just got in. What? So wait, what's the maximum number you can get now?
Like 5.
Sky's the limit.
Shut up, Bruce. Shut up. No, for real. What is it? Is this like my grade is whatever I feel like it is?
No, I don't know.
I identify as a 5.0 student.
It's you get bonus points if you took AP courses or you got an international baccalaureate, or there were honors courses, or then you get a bonus if you didn't take any of those courses because you went to a school that didn't offer AP. I mean, it's extremely complicated.
What, bro?
Well,
can I get some of that?
I have a distinguished high school diploma. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, Ben was a tag student.
When I was in law school, I took a year of tax law with Marty Ginsburg, who was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's husband, and was also the top tax lawyer in the country, the author of the treatise. And if you went into his office, there were 3 things on the wall. There was his high school diploma, there was a golf certificate, and there was a photo of his wife getting sworn into the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So there was the man who was proud of his high school diploma. and if you read his bio, it started Martin Ginsburg attended Cornell College on a golf scholarship.
That's hysterical. Okay, so hold on a second, Ben. You want me to mute this? Like here?
We'll try it. We'll try it. We'll see what happens.
And see if people can still hear it. Can
Yeah.
you guys still hear that?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unmute it.
Okay. We're having some technical difficulties.
You turn it up.
Well, let's see. Let's
The
something big.
Office of Shipbuilding and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs. We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon.
I never even thought
It will have a huge impact. To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it.
Wow.
Oh, look, a few Democrats. Or are those
Are you
Republicans
sure
who
those are-
happen to be on the Democrat
just
side?
Flow over.
Could be.
It's
Maybe they're tricking us.
Yeah.
And lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work.
Yeah, Panama is
very highly to go.
Crazy.
They're apparently dangerous. All right, good.
Yeah.
Not going.
Yeah.
Also, that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1, but that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
It's like Catholic Mass. Stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
Hey, it's good exercise.
And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong.
Wow.
That's why he put him
Marco's
there.
been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it. He got 100 votes.
Oh, wow.
You know, he was approved with actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes. And I'm either very, very happy about that or I'm very concerned about it. But he's already proven. I mean, he's a great gentleman. He's respected by everybody, and we appreciate you
Let me
voting
try
for
something real
Marco.
quick.
He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me know if y'all can hear this in 3. Let me try to unmute this.
We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and
Yeah.
together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before.
Oh, Greenland.
It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. America is once again standing strong against the forces of radical Islamic terrorism. 3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Incompetent.
Not that they were
He is throwing
withdrawing, it was the way
savages,
they withdrew.
thugs.
Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice.
Sword of American justice.
Write that down.
He is not playing.
Wow.
A couple of Democrats are like trying to quietly clap.
See, oh yeah, they're oh, look,
Oh, they're
I'm on my
tweeting. Those are the
phone.
tweeters. Those are the TikTok senators.
Those like 4 or 5 people in the back must be Republicans.
Whoever
Or
smuggled the sword in is
Especially the
waving
government
it
of
around now.
Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown that when Putin saw what happened, I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was.
Yep.
Should have never happened. Grossly incompetent people. I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the phone. We had a big call. Every one of them called, and everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords.
Oh my God, Ross Albright is Thomas Massey's guest at the State of the Union. So he's there.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So he's sitting with Massey.
That's
and now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People haven't been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Pocahontas.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Look at her. She's like,
Now
Well played.
that's the right attitude to have.
2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
So that's the
Wouldn't that
thing.
be beautiful?
So many people are not talking about how many people have died.
I couldn't hear you, honey. Speak a little louder.
How many people have died in that conflict? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Olga, were you talking?
yeah, I said it's so many people, and you know they're here in their little ivory towers.
Yep.
Because they're getting money on the backside of it.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. Last I heard, it was like hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, like yes, hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
A history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother,
Oh wow.
that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight.
Wait, where was he at?
In Russia? Yeah, in Russia.
Wait, so you're telling me at the same time we were negotiating to get Brittany Griner?
Right. That could have happened
Oh.
too. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Good to know.
Priorities.
Look at the weasel squirm.
Which one?
Adam Schiff.
Oh.
I could just look at that dude and tell he's not it.
Okay, so
Mark and his great
one
mom, we
report
are
I'm seeing is
delighted to have
over
you safe
200,000
and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. I've heard of it, where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky.
No.
Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father, and above all, a protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. 2 others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of 2 great country doctors, we thought they were gone and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their 2 beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you.
Their faces. Wow.
Should we go into conspiracy mode?
What do you mean?
Was it planned? Was the
Oh yeah. Well, dude, think about
Totally.
all the political violence is all against Republicans by psycho Democrats. At least recently. Golly, getting people all murdered.
To Helen, Allison, and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his 3 beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that.
Ooh.
That's why he goes so hard, I think. I think that's why it's like the gloves are off.
Ooh.
I don't know if I believe Donald Trump. I don't know. It's weird to hear him talk about God. I just don't like people invoking the name of God all the time. Makes me nervous.
Thank you very much. From the patriots of Lexington and Concord to
I
the
think.
heroes of Gettysburg.
Wait, repeat that. Repeat that, Olga.
I said just my personal
to the
opinion is
trailblazers
that
who climbed the Rockies and from
he really believes that. I think that's why he's all in.
Maybe. I'd like to think so.
Yeah, that's me too. I'd like
But
to
again, I don't trust politicians.
I got you. You always got to have a little bit of
political distrust.
Yeah, of course.
You know, reasons to trust the government. Go to generallyirritable.com. Get your merch.
Tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American.
How long has it been going for?
It's like an hour and 20 minutes
yeah, I think,
at this
yeah.
point. I think they started around like 9:20-ish. It was pretty late.
Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent
I guess,
nation.
yeah, 9:20.
I'm just saying, one more way, you're going to have a hard time comparing Joe Biden to him. I mean,
There's
this
no
dude's lucid.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
AF.
Right? Yeah.
What do you mean?
By
I
the
don't know.
way,
Last year Biden was lucid. He was on drugs. Remember? No, I mean, remember? Go look
There's
at
a
last year's
cocktail.
State of the Union address. His eyes were popping out of his head.
Yeah. Well, they gave him like a nice cocktail of like Adderall and God knows what else, but it only lasts a short time.
Yeah.
And you see it start
And
to
you
fade.
can see when it's wearing off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, I don't know if it's just because I'm a, recovering junkie and all, but like you can see it. Like you can see it in people's eyes. You can see it in their face. And then you can see when the drugs are wearing off and the and the fog starts to set. You can see it happening.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
so disgusting.
I don't do a lot, didn't do much drugs, so I don't know. I can't see it.
No, but in someone like him, like where you see this progression over the years, and that all of a sudden he has this energy and he's saying all the words, and then all of a sudden it's like he starts, like you said, the fog sets in.
Yep.
That's a cocktail that's wearing off.
We should make a drink called the fog sets in.
You just call it the Biden.
You call it Dark Brandon.
Dark Brandon.
Our own.
Dang it, baby.
In
Stop
the
it.
most thrilling days.
I think that would be a Captain Morgan's base.
This will be our greatest era. With God's help over the
Makes
next
sense to
4
me.
years, we are going to lead this nation even higher. And we are going to
He sounds like a wrap-up.
forge the freest,
Yeah.
I think so.
most
Can you turn
advanced,
it up,
most
babe?
dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we're going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, that's why Elon's on board,
Oh yeah,
That's a big
that
deal
bro.
for him.
Yeah,
He's
so
gonna
good.
make what is that stupid movie? He's gonna
The
make
Expanse.
no, not Fifth Element. What the heck was it with the 3 boobs and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I forgot the name.
Oh my god.
American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day we will stand up and we will fight for the country our citizens believe in.
Are you talking about Blade Runner?
Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Fight.
Fight. Whoops. Oh, stop.
Look at Lauren Boebert over there getting fired up. Fight.
Basically.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.
Look how fast the roaches scatter.
Yeah.
So by the way, I put in the comments, but Jillian Michaels commented basically like the Democrats did not stand for Laken Riley. They did not stand for the firefighters. Like that just, exactly. The firefighter who fosters numerous kids makes you look like a-holes. And they are the ones wearing pink, supposedly for like women's rights, but they all just voted to like not protect women and girls in sports. So like just the hypocrisy and just they're just living contradiction. I don't think they even know like what to do with themselves.
But wait, Olga, what is a woman?
Right, shut up.
At this point, I no longer know what anything is.
No, now we all know. Now it's like, now we know. It's like we're back to, we've been through the reset, like biological woman, that's it. You can live your life, but you just can't force everyone else to, go along. We don't have to teach it to children.
Yeah.
One of the things I saw that there's actually like a place, I don't know if it's, I forget what agency it is, that you can actually like type in like what school, if they're still like pushing this.
No kidding.
Support site, I guess, for the federal.
Oh.
Any official state or federal agency or something that you say that is still like doing any of these things. And I was like, that's interesting.
I like that. Okay, you guys, I'm not gonna lie.
It's
tired.
long. Yeah.
That was an hour 40. Strong.
Yeah.
Pure head hunting haymakers. There were no jabs. It was all knockouts.
It's all scorched earth.
Wild. I have never seen a presidential address like that.
Well, you get shot at, probably change the timbre of your delivery. I'm not surprised. I figured this is what was going to happen. Okay. My main thing was when he was running, I was like, I want Trump to do what he said he's going to do. I don't want to see him settle his grudges. I want to see him enact the law in the Constitution and strip federal power.
Yep.
That's all I wanted to see, and I wanted a bunch of transparency. Even if he didn't do anything, right, if he couldn't make it a bunch of changes, I wanted to see what Doge is doing. Just show us what is happening. If Democrats and progressives continue to vote the way they're voting now, with the full knowledge of the magnitude of moronitude of the spending, it's not even a word. I had to make a word up. I know Bruce is probably dying inside.
Magnitude of
Moronitude. If they vote the same after seeing this stuff, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, hold on.
You can't be safe.
Hold on.
Well,
Bruce
it's a
had
cult.
his hand up. Wait, hold on. Bruce had his hand up a second ago. I feel like
No,
he was
I'm good.
teeing something up.
I'm good. I mean, Ben's on a roll.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, never mind. Keep going. Go ahead.
Look,
Olga.
that's all I had.
Go ahead, Olga. What were you going to say before?
I was going to say, I, as a libertarian and, member of the Libertarian Party, like a lot of us made the decision of kind of joining this coalition because he came to our convention. He promised to free Ross Ulbricht. He did that. And so for me, I was like, okay, you had me at Ross. Everything else right now is cherries on top and gravy and rainbows. And I'm just like, wow, he's like the most libertarian president right now in terms of just like some of these really strategic things. I mean, obviously he's not a libertarian per se, but he's just, I think, and I think a big part of this is because the zeitgeist has changed. I think there's some great libertarians like Dave Smith and others who are kind of like now, like they've been talking for a few years. And like, so a lot of their ideas are kind of like made it mainstream.
Yeah.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they came to Pork Fest. They came to our national convention. They've been kind of like, we've inoculated them. We've infected them a little bit. So I just feel like they're kind of like, you know what? Yeah, let's scale this back. Like we want like maximum for, I think like Javier Milei getting elected in Argentina. I think that was also like a big, like, wait, what? And I think a lot of these ideas are just getting out there and they're exciting. And I think, there's just a segment of the population that are like, this is like edgy and cool. And this is like what we should be. Like, we should just be like, like private property rights. Like, what's that about? Self-ownership, like the non-aggression principle.
I feel like we should be different versions.
Limited government, a maximum freedom.
Of that. I would think that Americans we're all about freedom. And there's different shades of what that looks like. So I would think a lot of the libertarian principles would be the basis of where you would start from if you're genuinely an American.
Our Constitution is libertarian.
But we're not
Well,
taught that.
well-
But we're not taught that, and the institutions have been captured. Like
Wait.
like we said earlier.
Look at Bruce. Bruce,
He totally
you got-
rolled his eyes at
he's
me.
academic.
He
Tell
totally
us
rolled his
something.
eyes at me.
No, I mean, look, I think everybody's looking for, you're looking for libertarianism. People are out there hunting for socialists on the other side. I mean, I think that what's really going on is you've been hearing since 2016 that there's a wave of populism sweeping the world.
Yeah.
And then you get the response of, well, this wave of populism is a threat to our democracy, right? Well, it turns out populism actually has an opposite. The opposite of populism is elitism. Okay? And neither populism nor elitism are inherently good or inherently bad. It kind of depends on, populism is what the masses want and elitism is what the elites want. And whether I like one better than the other depends on who wants what.
Which group I'm in.
But in effect, what's happening, what's happened is we really have, and this is going on throughout the West, is we've got a clash of populism versus elitism. Now, the thing is that the elites know elites can never win in a in a democratic election unless they can convince some segment of the very poor to vote their way. And so you frequently get these coalitions, and this is what the Democrats are. The Democrats are a coalition of the elite and the people they've bought off.
Yep.
And you usually want to buy off the poorest people because they're the cheapest.
Yep.
Quite frankly.
True, though.
Seriously.
But that's true.
Listen,
True.
I can buy off poor people for a bowl of soup.
Well, you buy-
If I want to buy off middle
unions.
class people, I got to buy them the house.
Yeah. Or give me
Okay,
some solar
I'd rather buy
panels or a
soup.
freaking Tesla credit.
That's fair. That's fair.
I got to buy them soup. So this is what you got around the West. You've got these coalitions of elitists and the peasants they've bribed against the entire productive middle. And it's becoming clearer and clearer to everybody who is not in the elite and is not in the bribe class. That there's nothing in that coalition for them.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it is like, if you look at,
pretty good.
Obama wins, right? Everybody was like, hope and change. People were skewing Democrat, diversity, all the things. That did not shake out. Then, and before that, it was Republican, and people, you had the Tea Party, had a bunch of things happen, didn't shake out for certain people in those instances. And now they're like, all this stuff hasn't worked. Then you have Trump gets in there, but it's kind of like a mix because you had COVID, you had a bunch of other stuff going on. So we didn't get like a pure, this is what it looks like if he was left alone and unmolested, plus lawfare. So you don't really get that. But then you get Biden. So you're back to the left again. And that's been horrible. And so now a lot of people are like, everything sucks. Everyone's a liar.
But in addition to that, Ben, the deep state exposed itself.
That too.
And people really got to see what is there's way more going on behind the scenes.
Yes. And so I think that's why when I say libertarian, in the sense that when I look at what's a politician's going to do, what someone's going to offer me, I first think of freedom, and then I consider what they're talking about. Because I'm a Christian, which means I love everybody. I generally believe you should do whatever you want to be able to do. God's a gentleman. He doesn't force you to be a Christian. So I shouldn't be forcing you to do a bunch of wild stuff either. It's your life. As long as you're not hurting me, it's kind of your life. As much as I can allow that, because I want you to afford me the same thing.
Yeah.
So I start there. Because if I take away freedoms, it's going to come back to me in spades. And I know that's going to come back to me in spades because the culture is wild. So that's how I would think most people would understand that. But it's clear looking at how Democrats and progressives move, they don't believe that. That's why they'll vest power in the federal.
Even some Republicans, COVID exposed a lot. It wasn't, it was predominantly sure, we can say but it wasn't 100%, right? I think there's there's authoritarians and people who will kind of fall in line on the left and on the right, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. But my point is that the left is way more comfortable vesting more power in the government, not thinking about the fact that in 4 to 8 years, it'll be on the other side. And
speaking of getting on the other side, okay, hold tight, Bruce, for 1 second, and then we're gonna get final thoughts before we go. Okay, you guys, go to generallyirritable.com, buy merch, check out our stuff. You can get our book. Look, we've got a store. Wait, hold on.
Honey, talk into the microphone.
I don't know what's going on with my mic. Dude.
What are
I'm
you-
like on it. If you can't hear me, it's not my fault. There's something going on. It's probably because we're on a freaking 4-hour live stream.
I know.
It's having a heart attack.
Look, you get
So
a coupon.
You can get a coupon. Sign up for the
Oh,
newsletter.
snap. Look at that guy.
Look
He's excited.
we got books. We got merch. Oh, look, Pure Blood. Texas Neanderthal travel mug, okay?
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Remember, if you didn't get the vax, if you're pure-blooded, remember when Joe Biden called us Neanderthals? Neanderthal thinking?
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a Neanderthal with a gun.
New reasons to trust the government merch. Look at that.
Oh, you
Look
guys
at that.
got a jacket?
Look at that
That's
sexy
awesome.
The jacket is live.
It's so tight.
Do you have one, Ben? I
Yeah.
want to see you model it.
Hold
You
on.
want me to? Okay. Hold on. You
Let
gonna go
them
get
do
it?
it.
Okay, you're gonna go get yours. Look at that. Look at that. Sneakers? What? You can have sneakers that show
I like
how much
that
you
hat.
hate the government? Of course. Yeah, see, I'm wearing the hat. This is a reasons to trust the government hat. And yeah, so there. Go get the merch. Buy some stuff, y'all. Support the channel. All right, cool. All right. So, Bruce, before I rudely interrupted you, you were going to say something very
No. I was just saying,
brilliant.
Ben was saying that everybody can see that things didn't work out. But in fact, that's not right. I mean, I know a lot of people who think that things were going great. I mean, this is,
Mass hypnosis or something? Mass
No,
psychosis,
I mean,
what do
this
they call
is-
it?
People who thinks that it has been going great.
nice.
Oh, wow, look at that.
That
Look
is
at that.
beautiful.
There's one of the,
Who
the other
thought things were
hat.
going well? Listen, I spent a decade on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. They all think things are going well.
That's
Wow.
freaking crazy.
I mean,
Also-
You can see the back.
there's-
Wait, hold on. Bruce is talking, baby.
Yeah.
Also, this is the St. Fauci shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we rocking
It
that.
says virus of the Immaculate Conception.
Oh my God, that's sacrilege.
Okay, commercial over. Bruce.
Jay
go-
didn't appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I know these people, right? I mean, I can bash the elite for all I want, but that's basically because I'm one of them. And I mean, this this is my world, and I'm telling you, it is full of people who do not get it.
Yeah.
How are they insulated? That's what I don't understand.
Because you insulate yourself. I mean, you lived in Vermont. Like, this is still a thing. There's still people in masks. They're driving in their cars. I mean, it's real. They don't, it's like anybody. If you want blinders on, you're just gonna be. It's your religion of choice, right? You're gonna believe what you believe, and you're gonna filter everything through that.
Because they also don't understand that their world isn't normative. I remember conversations I had with neighbors during COVID. Somebody would say to me, so I worked from home for a while. What's the big deal? And I'd say, well, maybe that works for you, but what about a guy who drives a forklift for a living? And they'd go, well, I don't know anyone who drives a forklift.
Yeah.
Or I would
How do you
say,
think your stuff gets to you?
They don't think about it.
Or I would say, they closed the public schools. And somebody would say to me, well, your kids are in private school. What do you care? And I'd go, you think it's okay to live in a jurisdiction where you can only send your kids to school if you can afford $50,000 a year? And they'd go, well, why is it your problem?
Right. Why are you talking about it? It's like when you tell someone, oh, I'm vaccine injured, or my children are vaccinated. Well, I never had issues with vaccine. And it's like, okay, but other people do. It's that.
Or here's a better one. I can't vote for Lee Zeldin for governor because of abortion. And I'm like, well, nothing's going to happen in New York. And I know, of course, nothing's going to happen with the abortion laws in New York. But look what the legislature is doing in Mississippi. I go, you ever been in Mississippi? No. I'm like,
What's that got to do with
maybe
you?
you should be concerned. Maybe you should be concerned about subway safety in Queens. Well, I don't go to Queens. Well, how about the kids of the woman who cleans your apartment? Oh, yeah, they ride the subways in Queens. I'm like, so you're more concerned about abortion rights in Biloxi than subway safety in Queens?
Yes.
Like, yeah, well, abortion. I'm like, you can't have these conversations.
I think do you think it's like it's just, like the idea of like they're just like the low hanging fruit, like the low information, like they're just getting like limited. They're not kind of thinking things through, and so they're just absorbing like the limited information that they're getting, like if it's from their news or from their favorite like social media source, and like that's just they just put that in and that's it.
Yeah,
I mean, because there's no other way that I just look at it like when someone's in a cult or something, or in like religion, like they just don't want to hear any other point of view, and that's it.
I think that history has no shortage of nobility that is completely detached from both reality and the people.
Let them eat cake.
I mean, you know, it happens all the time in society after society after society, that you've got a class of nobles who just live in their own world and have no idea what's going on around them. You know, and
all right. So hold on. Everybody's making good points, but y'all, I gotta go. We gotta wrap this up.
But I do want to say something very quickly about that. About they've been weighing in them. Human nature, the biology of a human is to conserve energy. Think requires energy and time. It's a resource intensive activity. I'm not even joking. I'm not even trying to be funny.
I know.
And so it's easier to not think and to take the download for people you trust and argue with them and just go whatever else is doing around you.
All right. That's true. Okay, guys. So, Bruce and Olga, before we let you go, don't leave your browser open for a little while until your recording is uploaded for me, please.
Okay.
Also, share our audience where to go find you on the socials.
I am most active on X, so I just put it in the comments, but people can follow me on X at LibertyMe15. You can go to YouTube. My channel is Latina Libertarian. Yep, those are the best ways.
Excellent. And Bruce is excellent on Twitter as well.
You can find me at BD Abramson on Twitter, or you can pick up my Substack. Go to bda1776.substack.com.
Also, Bruce is a prolific writer, you guys. He's got some excellent books out there, recent publications. I'm sure we've got links in the description. Definitely go check that out.
Bruce,
okay.
what's your? I didn't catch your X. What is your Twitter?
BD Abramson.
Oh, Abramson. Okay.
Yep. And okay. So final words. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate Trump's speech?
10.
10.
I mean, it's unprecedented.
Yeah,
and there's something really satisfying about sticking it to the people who are walking around as if they're holier than thou and their shit doesn't stink. And it's like, no, your shit stinks and I'm going to rub your nose in it. Like, it's just, I'm all about that right now.
Of course.
Yes. All right, Ben, what do you say?
I give it a 9. He threw haymakers the whole time, stayed on topic. And normally I'm way more diplomatic.
Yeah.
But the left was ridiculous for like the last 8 years. So they kind of deserved all of that since they didn't want to be diplomatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will also give it a 9, only because it's too late, bro. Come on, bro. I want to go to bed. And we're in Central Time. It's even later there. You guys are freaking ballers staying
Committed.
up with us. I love it.
Champions.
All right, you guys. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Olga, for joining us.
Thank you. It's
this
always fun to talk with
evening.
you guys. It was nice to speak with you, Bruce.
Nice speaking to you, Olga.
Yes. All right, y'all. We're going to close.
With an ad?
We're going to close with an ad for reasons to trust the government.
This book will give you wings! What kind of wings? Not like Icarus wings, like eagle's wings! What about dragons? You'll have dragon's blood! You'll be able to breathe fire! Fire like the Ultra Eagle Drago Guard! This book will make you smarter! Yes! I'm not just talking honor roll smart, I'm talking Nikola Tesla sign. You'll be so good looking, Brad Pitt will be jealous.
Do you want to make money?
How much money?
Elon Musk money.
That's a lot of money.
People will think you're Elon Musk, but you're not Elon Musk. But they'll think you're
Elon Musk because you pay taxes like Elon Musk.
And you have to argue with Elizabeth Warren because she thinks you're Elon Musk. Do you want freedom?
How much freedom?
All the freedom. One to America. How much freedom do you want?
America.
Double America.